E99 to stop the event. Starting streaming now.
Yeah. I'm doing the pregame. Oh, okay. Hi.
My name's Gary. You are my grandparents' favorite, my parents' favorite, my favorite.
Pardon me?
You are my grandparents, my parents, and my favorite. And you'll always be in our Hall of Fame. Always. Can I get a picture? Sure. Thanks, man.
Very good.
Hi.
Hi. Could you do my son's hat and then my bag? I appreciate that. Thank you.
There you go. Who's doing the pregame?
Thank you so much.
Walt?
Oh, you already?
Oh, I signed
you
it.
got it.
Yeah, I got it. Walt?
Could we get a picture?
Who's doing the pregame? Oh, no.
Could we get a picture?
Sure.
Get it?
Good. Very good. Take care.
Can you say this? Hi to these people on the radio?
Oh, we'll try. We don't know if we can, right? Yeah, I'll where are you from?
They're in West Chicago.
She's got it on here.
Oh,
Okay. Those two boys, I'm going on the air, so just hold on a minute.
Just hold on.
And up to those two boys. No, not now. Just wait a minute. We have to wait.
Cubs Central pregame is on the air today. The Chicago Cubs taking on the Cleveland Indians from Mesa, Arizona. Good afternoon, everybody. Jim Memolo with you on Cubs Central pregame. Ted Lilly making his return to the mound for the Cubs after spending much of the spring with the U.S. team for the World Baseball Classic. Ted Lilly gets the start for the Cubbies today. Fausto Carmona going for the Indians in Mesa, Arizona, the final Sunday afternoon game in the Cactus League for the Cubs. Couple of more coming up this week. And Thursday night, the Cubs head to New York and wrap up the preseason with a couple of exhibition games at the new Yankee Stadium against the Yankees next Friday afternoon and Saturday. And we'll have that Saturday game for you next week on the Cubs Radio Network. Meantime, Ted Lilly, Fausto Carmona, the matchup today. The Cubs suffer a loss to Colorado yesterday by a score of 10-6. Ryan Dempster started that one for the Cubbies, gave up 4 runs in 6 innings, actually had the lead, but the Cubs bullpen gave up 6 in the 8th inning to the Rockies, and the Cubs lost to 10-6. Micah Hoffpauir, though, smacked another 3-run homer, and Coy Hill had another big hit in that game, and that leads up to today's contest against the Cleveland Indians. Our first look at today's ball game is sponsored by the Lowe's Building Blocks to Success. Lowe's, let's build something together. Let's bring in Cubs legend Ron Santo from Hohokam, Mesa, Arizona. Ron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Jim. How you doing?
Doing okay. We don't have the baseball weather in Chicago anymore.
That's what I understand. A little snow today?
Yeah, a little snow. That's a little bit of a shock to the system with the baseball season right around the corner. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. I thought, it's the extended spring training. We might even be opening on the 1st.
I'm telling you, some years you would have been opening tomorrow,
exactly.
and that wouldn't have worked out too well. And it sounds like Lou is ready to wrap up spring, but you might want to let him know that a couple of more days in the sun might not be so bad.
Absolutely. And today, on the show, I'm sure you heard it, but he has made a decision on the closer, and it's going to be Kevin Gray.
Yeah. Does that surprise you at all, or not?
No, it doesn't, because Kevin Gray, in the last 2 years, 60 saves, 30 a year, plus the fact he has not given up a run He has not given up a run this spring. And don't get me wrong, he brought Marmol in because he knows Marmol's going to be the closer. It could happen. You never know what's going to happen during the year. And he let Marmol know there's no doubt you'll be the closer eventually. And, you know, that right now I feel I need you as a setup man because the job he did last year, and I'll tell you, he believes the 7th and 8th guy is important as the closer.
Yeah, well, and you know what you've got in Carlos Marmol in the 7th and 8th inning, as opposed to putting him in the closer's role. Greg has been a closer, and from what I heard, Ron, he was not operating 100% last year for the Marlins.
Well, that's exactly right, but he is healthy. This guy is 6'6". I've always been impressed with him. He's a very cool customer on that mound, and he throws 95 to 97 with a very good breaking ball. So, you know, that's been his role most of his career.
Cubs made some cuts today, Ron. They're down to 30 players. Kevin Hart and Randy Wells were both optioned to AAA Iowa. It was not a good day for Randy Wells yesterday in that 8th inning against the Rockies.
No, it was not, and it was sad to see that. It was a good ball game. Yesterday's game, I felt we did it, of course, in Tucson. Two of the best throws I've seen in a long time by Reed Johnson, and the pitching. It looked like it looked at the beginning of the game that Dempster didn't have good rhythm, or he didn't have the velocity. But as the game was going on, he just developed more velocity, started throwing strikes. And Lou mentioned on his show that he'd like to see him. He's been having problems in the first inning this spring. But when that bell rings, it'll be a different story.
And we'll run down some of the other roster cuts a little bit later on in Cubs Central pregame. Ted Lilly, I mentioned, Ron, back from the U.S. Team of the World Baseball Classic, and I'm sure Lou anxious to see him on the mound today.
Yeah, Lou's very concerned, and Soto, same, you know, really hasn't had a spring training. So when Soto came back, he's playing almost every game and getting more at bats, and he looked good yesterday. Threw out a base runner, got a couple hits, and Lilly, you know, pitched, but he's hoping that Lilly, you know, didn't lose anything, and we'll find out today. I'm sure he'll pitch a good ball game. So, you know, you got to – the WBC, if you don't play, it's like having no spring training for 2 weeks.
Well, and that is, for people out there who don't know, that's the main concern with Ted Lilly with the U.S. team is the feeling that he didn't get enough work or as much work as he would have gotten if he'd stayed with the Cubs in spring training, right?
Absolutely. Same with Soto.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I remember 4 years ago Zambrano pitched for Venezuela, and he got off to a terrible start. Because you miss in spring, you know, the real spring. They don't run every day like they do here. You know, it's like game situations.
Yeah, so we'll see what Ted Lilly has to offer today for the Cubs. Starting against the Indians, Fausto Carmona going for the Indians. He's had a pretty good spring, a 1.69 ERA in 5 outings this year.
Yeah, they like him a lot. I was talking to one of the broadcasters, and this guy has very good stuff.
And, you know, we talked about the cuts, Ron. Coy Hill still hanging around, had a big hit again yesterday, and it's going to go down to the wire, I guess, for Soto's backup.
Absolutely. It's going to be between Baco and Hill, and we'll find out, I would say, by Wednesday, maybe Tuesday, something like that, because the truck does leave back for Chicago on Wednesday, so I think he'll cut down to how many players. He's going to bring a couple extra players to New York, but it's going to be between Coy Hill and Baco, and there's no doubt Coy Hill is having a tremendous spring, and he's a very good receiver with a good arm. And, of course, Baco, very experienced, but, you know, hitting late in his career has not been the best.
And Mike Fontenot's kind of won the second base job. He's had a good spring, but Aaron Miles coming on, he had 3 more hits yesterday.
Aaron Miles will be playing a lot of baseball. Very versatile. He'll be at second and short, and you're right, and coming off the bench, and he'll be in a lot of games. He'll start a lot of games. There's no doubt he's a player. he's another gamer. That team yesterday in Tucson, these were gamers. These are guys, Reed Johnson, that goes out there and gives you 100%. Doesn't have the talent that a lot of other, but they will themselves to get the job done.
Ron, we'll let you get ready for the ball game and enjoy another day in the sunshine in Arizona.
Thanks a lot, Jim, and I'm hoping weather changes a little bit.
Bring it with you when you come north.
All right, my man.
Ron Santo down at Hohokam in Mesa, Arizona, getting ready for the ball game. Coming up, his conversation with Lou Piniella with the Lou Piniella Show. We'll run down those Cubs roster cuts that happened today. They're down to 30. We'll run down the names for you a little bit later on. Catch up on what's going on in spring training baseball today and some of the guys who have gone deep today, and keep an eye on them for the regular season. Also, the NCAA tournament's going on, so we'll have some scores for you during the Sports Wire segment of Cubs Central pregame. All of it coming up on the WGN Chicago Cubs radio network.
Here's Mike Muller, president of...
Cubs Central Lou Piniella Show on News Talk 720 WGN is sponsored by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers.
Hi, everybody. Ron Santo back here in Scottsdale, Arizona, with the manager of Chicago Cubs, Lou Piniella. Well, Lou, a week from tomorrow, our first game, and I think everybody's looking forward to it because it's been a long spring training.
Long spring training, Ron. It really has been. I mean, when you play 39 games in the spring and you're here for 7 weeks, my gosh, that's about a third of a baseball season. So, yeah, I mean, we've been here a long, long, long time, and I'm glad it's finally coming to an end. We're finally getting to the point where we can get on a plane and go to New York and play those 2 games in New Yankee Stadium, and then go to Houston to start our season.
Yeah, and, just talking with the coaches, and, the coaches and yourself work so hard in such a long spring training, you really need a week off before the season starts.
I'll tell you what, yesterday I wasn't feeling too good, so I didn't go to Tucson, and, boy, I didn't miss that bus ride over there. But I'll tell you, the players we've been able to take care of as well as possible with the days off. I've given them free time. Look, the goal here is to have a fresh team when the season starts and a team that's ready to go. And, here in the past week or so, I've seen some really, really nice things. There are a couple things that we still need to work on and get a little better at, but for the most part, we're ready to start. The work part, Soto missed a lot behind home plate. Matty's been working with him on his footwork, on blocking pitches, on his throwing a little bit, and he's getting better. The Japanese kid, Fukudomi, we haven't seen him in center field all that much. He missed some time also where they didn't play him in the Classic, so he needs some at-bats. On the positive side, one other thing, I talked to Dempster today. He's given up runs in the first inning here in spring training, then he settled down and pitched very well. So maybe his concentration needs to get just a little better. On the positive side, Derek Lee's starting to swing the bat. I mean, that's really, really good news for us. Soriano's starting to swing the bat. That's very good news for us. Ramirez is coming along. So, there are a lot of things to like, a lot more things to like than things not to be totally pleased with. But let me tell you this. These guys have worked hard, and I'm proud of them. We've stayed relatively healthy, which is important with this long spring training. And now we're in the process of cutting down for opening day.
Have you made a decision on the closer?
Yeah, we did, Ron. Just a little while ago, I had Carlos Marmol in here, and I had to give him not so good news for him that we're going to start the season with Greg as a closer. Look, Carlos has got dynamic stuff, and look, I know he's going to be a little disappointed, but I told him, I said, look, you do your job, and things are going to take care of themselves for you. I feel that Marmol could close for this team, no question about it. But at the same time, Greg's come in here with 60 saves in 2 years, and also he hasn't given up a run yet this spring. I mean, we let him compete, and Greg has really, really pitched well. We know what Marmol can do in that real setup role, and we feel that we got two guys here that can pitch the ninth inning, and we're in good shape with. So we're going to go this way. If we have to make adjustments, hopefully we won't, but if we have to, then we'll make them.
Well, I know one thing, Lou, over last year, and you talked about it a lot during the year, that we needed more left-handed hitting, and we sure have that. And Bradley having a very good spring, very disciplined hitter, and a very aggressive hitter.
Aggressive, he's got intensity, he is disciplined. Look, we got to keep him on the field.
He's got an edge to him, which is
great. He's got an edge, there's no question. Yeah, I mean, he's been up for a few of these spring training games.
Yeah.
Look, the whole thing with Bradley is keeping him on the field. I've got to make sure I rest him. He fits in perfect in that fourth spot between Lee and Ramirez. So let's keep him healthy and out in the lineup. Reed Johnson's done a real nice job here. Hot power. How about hot power? I mean, gosh, you try to draw things up and you say, well, how can we get both hot power and Big Lee at the same time? He can swing the bat, and he has. We do have a little more left-hand hitting. Fontenot's had a nice spring also. Miles is really coming on. I told the little Babe Ruth today, I said, Miles is really coming on. He looked at me. But we got a lot of good things here, a lot of good things. And today we get Lilly on the mound against Cleveland. He's another kid that's a little bit behind. All three of these guys, they're all a little bit behind. But he'll get a start today. And then Larry Rothschild, our wonderful pitching coach, plays weatherman from time to time, and he says, well, there's a 80% chance of rain in New York next Friday, which will be Lily's last turn. So he's already a little concerned about the weather in New York. But Lily will get a start today, and then his next turn to pitch is Friday, and then he's ready for the third game assignment in Houston.
Well, let's get going, and let's get a win today, and I hope you're feeling better, big boy.
Thank you so much.
Lou Piniella, the fine manager of the Chicago Cubs. We'll be right back with more baseball on WGN Cubs Radio Network.
Cubs Central pregame on News Talk 720 WGN is sponsored by National City Bank. Welcome back to Cubs Central pregame. Jim Memolo with you this afternoon. We get you ready for Cubs baseball. The Cubs taking on the Cleveland Indians from Mesa, Arizona, Hohokam Park. Pat and Ron will be with you in just a little while. Ted Lilly going for the Cubs today. Fausto Carmona going for the Indians. As I mentioned, Ron, before, Carmona having an excellent spring for the Indians. His ERA under 2 in 5 outings for the Tribe. Ted Lilly, on the other hand, has not had that much work with the Cubs. And the concern for the Cubs is that he hasn't had that much work, period, for spring training because he spent a lot of time with the U.S. team in the World Baseball Classic and probably did not get as much mound time with that team as he would have with the Cubs in Mesa all spring. We've got a scoreboard update for you in spring training baseball, some interesting numbers individually along with the scores of the game, but that's coming up with our Sports Wire in just a little bit. The Cubs, as we mentioned before, have reduced the roster to 30 players. Right-handed pitchers Kevin Hart and Randy Wells were optioned to AAA Iowa. Wells got roughed up in the 8th inning against Colorado yesterday, so he was on his way out. And Kevin Hart has not had a great spring for the Cubs as well. The other cuts, Mark Johnson, a catcher, infielders Andres Blanco and Esteban Herman will be sent down to the minor league camp, along with outfielders Brad Snyder and So Taguchi. Taguchi is a major league veteran, was with the Phillies last year, spent a lot of time with the Cardinals. If there's an injury or two in the Cubs outfield, you can be sure you'll probably see him up with the Cubs at some point in the 09 season. So the Cubs roster is down to 30 players, consisting of 16 pitchers, 2 non-roster invitees, 3 catchers, 6 infielders, and 5 outfielders. One of those catchers will not be with them by next weekend. Coy Hill and Paul Bacco fighting it out for the backup spot behind Gio Soto. Coming up, our Cubs Central pregame Sports Wire will update you on spring training games and numbers today, and also what's going on in the NCAA tournament. That's coming up next on the WGN Chicago Cubs radio network.
I just got the Comcast Value Triple.
Cubs Central Sports Wire on News Talk 720 WGN is sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and Marathon. Welcome back to Cubs Central pregame. Jim Memolo with you this afternoon. Chris Flores spinning the dials. Time now to update you on the spring training baseball scoreboard. Get you ready for Cubs baseball in a minute. Right now, 6th inning in Florida. Detroit leading Atlanta by a score of 4-3. Placido Polanco's hit his third of the spring, second in 2 days for the Tigers in that one. Francoeur and Kochman have homered for Atlanta there. Boston's already beaten Philadelphia 3-1. Good outing for John Lester. 5 solid innings for the Red Sox starter in that one. Chris Carter, a rookie for the Red Sox, hit his 6th spring training homer in that game. Baltimore leads the Mets 2-0 in the 4th inning. Luke Scott has launched his 4th spring training homer for the Orioles. Minnesota up on the Cardinals 3-0 early in that game, 3rd inning. Cincinnati and Tampa Bay ripping on the Reds 10-2 in the 5th inning, despite Jay Bruce's 3rd spring training homer for the Reds. Astros and Toronto are tied at 2 in the 8th inning of their game. Florida's already beaten Washington by a score of 5-2. Josh Willingham at his 3rd, handling Ramirez his 3rd of the spring in that game. Slugfest going on between Pittsburgh and the Yankees. They're tied at 8 in the 6th inning. A 6-run 5th inning for the Pirates in that game. Domit, Adam LaRoche, Hinsky have all homered for the Pirates. Robinson Cano, his 2nd homer in as many days in 3rd of the spring. And if you're keeping track of these things, Pirates starter Zach Duke, rough outing for him, final one of the spring. In 3 1/3, he gives up 8 runs and 9 hits in that game. In the Cactus League, of course, you got the Cubs and Cleveland coming up. Arizona and the White Sox in Tucson, Oakland and Colorado and Phoenix. In Peoria, it'll be Seattle and Kansas City, Angels and Texas and Surprise. San Francisco and the Brewers in Scottsdale, and the L.A. Dodgers taking on San Diego in Phoenix. And that's a look at the spring training scoreboard. On the regular scoreboard in the NBA, the Bulls, a red-hot team, playing Toronto this afternoon. Hockey, the Blackhawks get the Vancouver Canucks at the United Center tonight, a 6 o'clock start there. Those two teams vying for the 4th playoff spot in the West, and that would be home ice advantage in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs for the winner there. And, of course, the NCAA tournament going on. 2 of the Final 4 already filled in with Villanova and UConn yesterday. Right now, Michigan State leads Louisville 41-36 with about 11.5 left in the second half of that game. North Carolina takes on Oklahoma to try and get a spot in the Final 4 in the other contest. And some sad news out of the NFL. Legendary NFL head coach Lou Saban has died at the age of 87. He coached the Buffalo Bills, Denver Broncos, also had stops in college at Army, Northwestern, Maryland, among other stops. Final round of the Bay Hill Invitational in golf. Sean O'Hare's got a 2-shot lead over Tiger right now. That's your Sports Wire. Let's send you down to Mesa, Arizona for baseball. Pat and Ron standing by. Cubs and Indians coming up on the WGN Chicago Cubs radio network.
Chicago Cubs baseball is on the air from Hohokam Park in Mesa, Arizona. It's a Cactus League battle between the Chicago Cubs and the Cleveland Indians. Good afternoon, everybody. Along with Cubs legend Ron Santo, it's Pat Hughes reporting. The starting pitchers today for the Cubs, left-hander Ted Lilly, and for the Indians, right-hander Fausto Carmona. It's a hazy but warm and windy Sunday afternoon. Good day for a ball game. Back to take a look at the lineups and get this one underway right after this on the WGN Cubs Radio Network. Testing 1, 2, 3. A little higher, please, Walt. A little higher. Louder. That's good right there. That's fine. Thanks, Walt. The starting lineups today brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Experience wellness everywhere. The starting lineups look like this. For the Indians, Grady Sizemore leads off in center. Former Cub Mark DeRosa at third base. The Indians catcher is Victor Martinez. Johnny Peralta at short. Batting fifth in right field, Ryan Garco. Ben Francisco in left. Jamie Carroll to bat seventh. Carroll at second base. Tony Graffinino plays first for the Tribe today. And batting ninth, right-hander Fausto Carmona. We are ready to go as Sizemore steps in to face Ted Lilly, lefty against lefty. Lilly making only his second Cactus League appearance of the year and his first since the 27th of February. Here's the leg kick and the game's first pitch, taken for a strike, and away we go. For the Cubs, quickly their lineup, Alfonso Soriano leading off in left. Ryan Terrio at short. Derek Lee to bat third and play first base. Milton Bradley in right field. Lilly's 0-1 to Sizemore. Swing and a miss. Good breaking ball. Ramirez at third base. Aramis batting fifth. Mike Fontenot at second. Giovanni Soto catching and batting seventh. Joey Gathright in center. And Ted Lilly pitching and batting ninth. Lilly ahead of Sizemore, 0-2. The next offering. Ripped up the middle into center field, a base hit. 0-2 pitch, Ronnie.
Yeah, an 0-2 pitch. And, you know, Pat, you talk about Ted Lilly. Of course, he played in the WBC. And, you know, you got to worry about those guys that have played that didn't get a lot of playing time in the WBC. I think he had 2 starts maybe, and it's not the same. You're in game situation where in spring training you're working on things. And I just think, you know, Lilly's got to get a few more innings in before the season starts.
I was thinking that same thing, Ron, as Mark DeRosa stands in. DeRosa hitting .278 this spring. He and Lilly both part of Team USA. Here's a high fly ball, deep left field, and this ball is going to leave the yard. Long home run for Mark DeRosa, and the Indians lead 2-0.
How about that?
Looked like a low fastball.
It was a low fastball, and of course, Mark and Lily are very good friends.
They were.
Well, he just nailed that ball. We're going to miss him, no doubt about it. But that's baseball.
Towering 2-run homer to left by DeRosa, just to the right of the scoreboard, a drive of about 410 feet.
That's his second home run.
The wind is blowing out. The ball really carries, even under normal circumstances in Arizona, but with that wind blowing out, it jumps out of here. Here is Victor Martinez, switch hitting catcher, hitting .239 in the spring. Lily's pitch bounced foul sharply past third. Getting back to Lily's workload, he has worked a grand total. Now, this includes WBC and Cactus League play, Ron. A grand total of only 8 1/3 innings of pitching. And he'd like several more innings before opening day.
Oh, absolutely. And when you look at Soto, who was Rookie of the Year last year and a tremendous year, he only got 4 1/3 innings. So, you know, that's like having no spring training.
Mm-hmm. Lily's 1-1 pitch to Martinez. Bouncing ball to short. Terrio to his left, gloves it, plants the feet, throws low, backhanded by Lee on the one hopper.
How about that play by Lee? That was not easy. That ball just, it didn't look like he had a good grip on that ball, Terrio, but Lee made a tremendous play.
One away, top of the first, 2-0 Indians on the home run by Mark DeRosa. And here is Johnny Peralta. Peralta having a torrid spring, hitting .435. Lily's pitch in for a strike. Ted Lilly, the stylish left-hander, he's done a good job in a Cub uniform, winning 15 games 2 years ago and then 17 games last season. 17 a career high. Changeup swung on and missed. He has been remarkably consistent when you look at the numbers over the last 2 years, Ron. They are almost carbon copies of one another with slight differences. He has made exactly 34 starts each year as a Cub. Bouncing ball to third, foul. He was 15-8 and then 17-9. His ERAs, 3.8 and 4.0, very close. He worked 207 innings his first year and then 204 last year. Very consistent. There's a Tapper foul at the plate.
Well, that was, if I'm right, wasn't that his third year over 15 wins? He had 2 years in a row of 15 wins and then 17.
That's exactly right, Ron.
Yeah.
He had 15 with Toronto back in 2006
right.
Before becoming a free agent.
I mean, his nickname is Bulldog because he is a bulldog.
Curveball call, strike 3. Backdoor and a beauty. 2 down. Peralta caught looking. 2-0 Indians in the first, and the batter Ryan Garco.
And Lily's going to give up a lot of home runs. He did last year. I don't know how many, but I think he was close to 30.
32, Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but he seems to come back, Pat. It doesn't bother him like it would a lot of other pitchers. Of course, he doesn't like giving them up. But if you can give up solo home runs, that's not going to hurt you as bad.
Garco swings and misses. One of the reasons why a majority are solos, he doesn't walk that many.
That's right.
Ted has about a 3-to-1 ratio of strikeouts to walks. The left-hander kicks and fires. In there for a strike. It's cloudy and windy here in Mesa. A huge crowd is on hand. This might be an all-time record setter today. Folks on the grassy hillsides, not an empty seat to be seen. Curveball swing and a miss, strike 3.
Good pitch.
Lilly strikes out Garco, gives up a 2-run homer to DeRosa. After a half, Indians 2 and the Cubs coming up. Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's fine. Thanks. Bottom of the first with Ron Sato, Pat Hughes in the Cactus League. Fausto Carmona, a right-hander. He was injured most of last year for the Indians after a brilliant season in 2007. He's a hard thrower, and his sinker is low and in to Soriano. What can you tell us about Fausto?
Well, I understand, Pat, talking with Tom, that this guy has a great sinking fastball, and sometimes he overthrows the ball.
Lined off the glove of Carmona, knocks it down, picks it up, and throws out Soriano for out number one. Soft liner. Carmona reached up, knocked the ball down. It rolled in front of the mound, and that's out number one. 2-0 Indians. Here is Ryan Theriot. Theriot hitting .415 in the spring. He's ready for opening day, which is 1 week from tomorrow night. It's getting close.
Yeah, he's been in a groove all spring, really ready.
Carmona's pitch low. Carmona, a year ago, started the season in the Indians' rotation. He made 10 good starts to begin the season, but then he suffered a left hip strain on the 24th of May against Texas. He was disabled for 2 months. Theriot spins away from an inside fastball.
Wow.
And they tell us, Ron, he never really had the control thereafter. He came back to the rotation, but he was wild and walking a lot of guys. And he ended the season 8-7 with a 5.4 ERA. 2 years ago, he was 4th in the AL Cy Young voting. He was great. Theriot takes a strike on the inside. It's 2-1.
Well, he really reaches back and gets a lot of velocity on that fastball. He's throwing his everything at you.
6 4-inch right-hander Fausto Carmona fires inside 3-1 to Theriot. Carmona, a 19-game winner in 2007, the year in which the Indians came within 1 win of winning the pennant. Remember, they led Boston 3-1 in the ALCS. Theriot chops it foul before Boston came storming back to win the last 3. Carmona and at that time C.C. Sabathia represented a great 1-2 punch for the Tribe. C.C., of course, has since been traded to Milwaukee and ultimately signing as a free agent with the Yankees. Now the 3-2. Inside, he walked him. Theriot gets on. Theriot, for a little guy, has a very good eye, too, Ron. He draws a lot of walks.
Yes, he does, Pat. He's a great number 2 hitter. Hits the ball the other way. Most of his hits are up the middle or to right center. Once in a while, he'll turn on a ball. But he's very patient at the plate, and he has that, what we call in baseball, inside-out swing, where he can take the inside pitch to right field.
Here's Derek Lee. Cubs trail by 2 in the first inning, but that wind is blowing out very invitingly on this Sunday afternoon. And for little guys like Theriot to get walks, Ronnie, they really have to earn them, because it's not like the pitcher is intimidated and is working around them the way he would to a slugger. You can understand why the sluggers get walks. Here's the pitch. Lee takes a strike. 410 feet to dead center here at Hohokam Park. 350 down the lines or thereabout, and about 385 to the alleys. The ball carries well here. Field is in great shape. The folks who take care of Hohokam Park do a magnificent job.
Oh, the Hohokams are wonderful.
The lead at first by Theriot. Lee chops it foul at the plate. The Cubs wearing their home uniforms today. Cubs wearing their home whites with the blue pinstripes and the blue hats, numbers, and socks. The Indians in their traveling unis, navy blue shirts, red numbers, gray trousers, navy blue hats, dark shoes. But they do a tremendous job. The Hohokams.
Yeah. Oh.
They run a nice press room, and they take care of this park beautifully. The security is good. Throw to first. Theriot's safe diving back in.
Boy, he barely got back, Theriot. I think he had an idea of going that time.
Fans line up in front of our booth to get Ronnie's signature.
And yours.
Occasionally mine. And we had a laugh a few moments ago. Ron, sometimes he'll just sign anything that's in front of him. Here's the pitch. Bouncer foul past third by Lee. We were given today the media credential. It's a little card. It's about the size of a credit card.
About the size of, and a baseball card. A little smaller than the baseball card.
And it was put on our desk, and we need that to gain access to all of the ballparks around the major leagues once the regular season starts. They give us spring training credentials, and then this is a key item they gave us, the regular season press pass. Here's the pitch. Lee bounces one to the hole at short, backhanded by Peralta, throws to second just in time. Good play by the shortstop to get a sliding Terrio, 6-4 on the fielder's choice. 2 down, and here's Milton Bradley. And I got my card and immediately put it in my wallet, and I'll use it probably next weekend at Yankee Stadium and then down in Houston and wherever we go. Now, Ron had this big list of items that were presented to him.
Well, they're not big. I have fans coming up, and this particular fan, handed me, I thought, 3 cards, and I signed 2 cards. And then...
Here's Milton Bradley taking outside.
I've never seen this card before. This is a WGN, and it's a brush job. Makes me look better than I am. And I signed it.
Ron signed his own media pass, folks.
And I was handing it to her.
And he was going to give it away to a complete stranger.
Oh, gosh.
We understand her name is Betty Fataski. And she is already practicing her broadcasting. And she might show up in a booth near you. She's got credentials, or she almost did. Here's a...
It wasn't for my son, Ron. I would have handed it to her.
Ron Jr. saved the day, said, wait a minute, you can't take that. You can't give that to that lady, Ron. That's your press pass. So Ron then tried to erase the signature, which was a Sharpie. Here's a foul off to the left, a little bit smudged. And I can't wait until you show that to security people in Cincinnati or Pittsburgh, or wherever we go.
Well,
sir, did you know you signed your own press pass? You really didn't have to.
Oh, gosh.
Betty Fataski. Here's a high pop foul, or it's actually a fair ball on the infield. And the first baseman, Graffinino, he's been known to sign his own press pass a few times, too. Makes the catch to end the inning. Keep things loose, Ronnie. That's the only way to go.
It's the only way to go.
Cubs don't score. We've played 1 here in the Cactus League. The score, the Indians 2 and the Cubs nothing.
The voice of the Cubs.
Ben Francisco leads things off for the Indians, second inning against Ted Lilly. Big curveball by Ted is high after Francisco failed to keep his bunt fair on the first pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2-0 Indians. Francisco, Carroll, and Graffinino. Lilly, the high leg kick, the lefty fires. Fastball strike. 1-2.
What Lilly, Pat, he has a variety of pitches, and of course, he knows how to change speed so well. He'll throw sometime get it up to 90, and then he'll throw an 85, and he'll keep them off balance. Plus, he's got a very good curveball and a good changeup.
Lilly just missed down low for a ball. It's 2-2. Yeah, he changes speeds nicely.
And you talk about a pitcher that is a gamer. How about that play at home plate when he was at third and the ball was hit to the third baseman? What team was that?
I'm trying to remember. Was that Jason Kendall of Milwaukee?
No, St. Louis, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yadier Molina?
Yeah, it was somebody. Yeah, I think it was St. Louis.
Anyway, Lilly barreled into the catcher.
Oh, man.
Here's a deep fly ball into left center field. The wind carrying it back toward the wall. And at the warning track, the ball is caught by Joey Gathright.
Boy, he went a long ways for that ball. And a nice play.
Gathright backhanding the ball right in front of the barrier at the 385 sign in deep left center. And boy, is that wind whipping. That ball was hit fairly well, but not all that well. And it almost left the yard. 1 away, second inning, 2-0 Indians. Here's Jamie Carroll. Jamie takes a slow, tantalizing curve for a strike. Jamie Carroll, Ronnie, his name, put him in that category.
Yeah.
He's got a man's first name, and his last name is a girl's first name, or could be.
Well, there's been men that have been called Carroll.
Well, I don't go to those places, but I'll take your word for it. No balls and 2 strikes on Jamie Carroll. The next offering is low and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. But Mark Grace would be. What would Mark Grace be? No, he would have that same name of a girl's first name for a last name. Mark Loretta, there's another one. Here's a changeup swung on and missed. Strike 3. Jeff Francis, there's another one for you.
Yeah.
2 down, nobody on.
Only you. Only you.
And the batter is Tony Graffinino. Nice to see Jimmy Bank, the Cubs traveling secretary, hopping into our booth right now.
He sneaks around all the time.
Jimmy standing closer to Ron than he is to myself. Ron, much more famous than yours truly. Here's a fastball in there for a strike. And it's 0-1. Graffinino, a journeyman. Here's the pitch on the way. Changeup just outside, and the count now 1-1. Well, we've already seen Mark DeRosa. He belted a 2-run homer in the first. We might see Kerry Wood later on today.
Is he with
He's
the ball?
Here.
Oh, that's great.
Slow curve hit in the air to center, deep, back going Gathright near the track. He's got room, and Joey makes the catch on the track. That ball really carried. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom of inning number 2. Indians 2, Cubs nothing. With Ron Santo, Pat Hughes, and Holcomb Park in Mesa. Bottom of inning number 2, the Cubs against Fausto Carmona have a Ramos Ramirez to lead things off. Ramirez, Fontenot, and Soto against the right-hander. Ramirez, with a couple of homers this spring, waits for the first pitch and takes a bender for a strike, 0-1. Hey, Cub fans, you can turn down the sound on your TV and watch the Cubs while listening to Ronnie and me. If you so desire, go to the WGNradio.com contest page as Ramirez lines a base hit to left. Went down and hit a low sinker, I believe.
That's what he did, and it's good to see Ramirez stay behind the ball, and he's been jumping at the ball this spring, but believe me, when that bell rings, he's going to be there.
Go to the WGNradio.com contest page for details on the Sports Sync radio. It allows you to match the radio play-by-play with the television video. Enter the online contest for your chance to win a Sports Sync radio or purchase one yourself. Left-handed batting Mike Fontenot checks in, hitting .333 in the Cactus League. The pitch fouled away. Good rip. This guy generates a lot of bat speed.
Boy, he sure does. He said his balance is very good, Pat, and he really gets that bat through there.
2-0 Indians in the second. Well, let's discuss what you and Lou Piniella talked about earlier, and it's kind of the buzz of the camp this morning and this afternoon. And that is the fact that Lou Piniella earlier today announced that Kevin Gregg will start the season as the Cubs closer, and Carlos Marmol, who has been battling Gregg, will continue in that setup role in the 7th and 8th innings.
That's exactly right. And he told me he brought in Marmol and let him know, there's not really a big decision here. Lou is a manager that believes that 7th and 8th guy is very important as the closer, because you got to have those two guys or a guy that gives you 2 innings to get to the closer.
Big bouncer over the mound. Glove by Peralta. Go to second. One fumbled. Everybody is safe. Peralta shoveling the ball to Carroll. Carroll reaching off to his left could not make the catch of that shovel toss. Both men are safe. That'll be an error on the shortstop, I believe. It's an error on somebody. 2 on, nobody out for Giovanni Soto.
So anyway, Pat, it's just a decision. It could have gone either way, and believe me, we know it. During a year, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, he can go from a setup man to a closer. Gregg can go to a setup man and a closer also. There's no doubt Kevin Gregg in the last 2 years has had 31, I think.
Deep drop to left off the bat of Soto. Going over is Francisco, making the catch near the track. A good swing, but Giovanni apparently hit it right off the end of the bat, and it just did not carry. 1 away. And here's Joey Gathright. Go ahead, Ron.
So, well, my point is, during a long season, you got 2 guys, which we have, and that tandem right there could be vice versa anytime. There's no doubt about it. So I know Marmol is looking forward to closing, but he will be a closer eventually.
And he still has
and he is a closer, to be honest with you.
And he still has an extremely important role.
Yes.
On this team.
No
Gathright batting. And he hits a big bouncer over the mound. Tough play. Charging Peralta. Bare hands. Throws late to first. Infield single Joey Gathright. Peralta, the shortstop, made the play as well as he possibly could have, but Gathright can really scamper.
Yeah, he really can, and that's his asset are those legs.
They're loaded with 1 away for Ted Lilly.
And believe me, he'll surprise you too, Ted. He's come up with some big hits. He doesn't look like he's a great hitter, but he comes up with some big hits.
Lilly last season hit 177, but he did drive in 5. Infield stays back. Cubs trail 2-0. Bottom of inning number 2. Bags loaded. Soriano on deck. Carmona from the stretch. Ramirez at third, Fontenot at second, Gathright at first. The pitch. Lilly lines it foul down the left field line. Getting back to Marmol, Ronnie, as I heard the news earlier, I know he was a little disappointed, as you mentioned. He had his heart set on closing, talking about Marmol. Right. It is a glamour spot, let's face it. You get headlines, you're on ESPN, on the highlight shows. Those saves are a big deal for a big league ball club, and I understand that. But when you think of the last 2 years, I want to get your opinion. Here's the 0-1. Outside for a ball 1-1. If you take both Cubs seasons, the last two, 2007 and last year, collectively, to me, the most valuable player of any guy on the team has been Carlos Marmol.
You got it. No doubt about it. And that's why, anybody would say, well, he deserves it. But, Lou looks at the fact that we won 2 divisional titles with him as a setup man. And we do have a legitimate 2 closer. Not that Marmol is not, because he's my favorite. There's no doubt about it. The man is tough with men on base. So he's just right now not going to make any changes and stay the way we are.
Ted Lilly waits for the 1-2 from Carmona. Swings and misses, strike 3. 2 down, and it's up to Alfonso Soriano. But, Ron, I know we talked about it a year ago when Kerry Wood was closing and Carlos Marmol was working in a setup role. For one thing, if anything would happen to Kevin Gregg, not that you ever like to think about it, but it's reality. Injuries do happen occasionally. You want your guys to all be healthy, but Kerry Wood was out with a blister issue, remember, for about a month. Yes. Marmol filled in beautifully as closer. And if you're going to be a good team, and this team certainly hopes to be good and hopes to win a lot of games, and if that's the case, here's the pitch to Soriano, bounced foul. If that's the case, you might rip off 9 wins out of 10 games. That's very possible. And a closer can't work in all 9 of those games. He's going to have to take a day off somewhere along the line. That's where Marmol comes in, too.
Exactly. And when you look at the fact that not only that's right, that's a very good point you bring up, Pat. You don't think of a 9 guy being in 5 days in a row or 6 days in a row. You got to give him a day off when he's only going that 1 inning. And then that's the same as Lou brings up. You got to have 2 good setup men, in case you can't be pitching Marmol every 7th and 8th inning or every day either, as far as the setup man goes.
It takes a lot of discipline as a manager, Ron. We've talked about that, and it's interesting to watch the way Lou Piniella handles the pitchers in the pen and the starters. You don't want to burn them out.
He's the best I've seen.
It takes a lot of patience. It's tempting, very tempting. Strike 2 to Soriano.
And what's really good, he lets Larry Rothschild. Larry has been his pitching coach when the World Championship with Cincinnati Reds. Larry is very good, and Larry and Lou sit down. Lou's very good with all the coaches. That's how he brings them all in. He wants their opinion on certain things.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Ronnie will continue this discussion in a moment. Soriano struck out on a high fastball. This Carmona's got a good arm, folks.
Yes.
Cubs don't score, leave 3. We go to inning number 3. Indians 2, Cubs nothing. Ted Lilly to Fausto Carmona. The pitch is in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cubs trail 2-0. We are in the 3rd inning here in the Cactus League. It's our final Arizona broadcast. We'll have a game from New York, Cubs and Yankees, next Saturday. And then, of course, all 162 games Ronnie and I will have for you beginning a week from Monday night. The Cubs open up down in Houston. Lilly's pitch on the way to Carmona, in there for a call, strike 3. 1 down. And the batter, Grady Sizemore. The Indians scored right away on a single by Sizemore and a booming 2-run homer by Mark DeRosa. Since then, Lilly has set down 7 in a row. And here is Sizemore. Ronnie, we were talking before the break about Lou Piniella and his coaches.
Yeah, Pat, he's been very fortunate. When he chooses, a manager has an opportunity. I'm almost sure. I don't know if it's 3 or 4 guys, whatever. It depends on the general manager. But Lou has picked his coaching staff, and it's one of the best I've been around. I mean, they work very hard. In fact, I was talking to Lou about, Lou's tired. It's been a long spring training. He's not feeling well right now, but the coaches, they need a week off before the season starts. Mm-hmm. It's really been a grind this spring. But what I really want to say is you see Lou with these coaches after a game, before a game, so he really utilizes the coaches. And I've always been a strong believer, Pat, you're only as good as the people you have under you.
Yeah, and you got to delegate some of that authority, and it's a good staff. It really is. They work hard. They're smart. They're knowledgeable. A lot of big league experience on that staff.
Yes.
Sizemore singled to start the game on an 0-2 pitch. Right now it's 1-2. Lilly kicks and fires to Grady, who takes outside for a ball, and the count 2-2. Let's talk about Kevin Gregg for a moment. He will be the closer. Kevin, a big guy, 6'6", hard thrower, 6'6", 238 pounds. We met him a little bit, got to know him a little bit at the Cubs convention. He's very bright. Now the 2-2. Swinging a foul at the plate. But just hearing him speak in the limited time that I did, I could tell he was very articulate and thoughtful. He has been with the Marlins the last 2 years. He was with the Angels before that for a few years. And he's a hard thrower. Here's the pitch. Sizemore strikes out swinging, 2 down.
Good breaking ball again. He's really got a good one. Changes speeds with that breaking ball, which is something that a lot of pitchers can't do.
Lilly with 5 strikeouts, 2-0 Indians in the 3rd, and here's DeRosa. I'm looking at last season for Kevin Gregg. He had 29 saves for the Marlins. He was in 72 games. So that tells me that he worked in games other than games where he was just called in to get the save. He had a 3.41 ERA. He gave up only 51 hits in 68 innings. I'll tell you the number I really like. Here is a swing and a miss by DeRosa on a change. When you look at Kevin Gregg a year ago, Ron, in 68 2/3 innings, he allowed 3 home runs.
That is big.
That's it.
That's it. The only problem, and we talked about this, Pat, is the base on balls. But when you got a guy that's going to strike out a lot of guys and not give up that home run, that's what you want.
Now Lilly coming back 2-1 to DeRosa. A swing and a drive. I think he has hit another one. He has. This ball is long gone off the scoreboard in left. DeRosa with his second tape measure home run of the day.
Can you believe this?
And it is 3-0.
Wow.
DeRosa pounding one halfway off the scoreboard in straightaway left.
He's probably very unhappy about doing that. But, boy, you talk about a guy that, in my opinion, last year, what a year. He had a career high 20 home runs, 86 RBIs or 87.
Here's Victor Martinez batting, taking a strike, and it's 0-1.
And now he hits 2 home runs off his good buddy.
3-0 Indians. We will see these guys during the regular season. There will be an interleague series at Wrigley starting on the weekend of June the 19th. Lilly's pitch. High for a ball to Martinez. Cleveland in for 3 straight day games. June 19, 20, and 21. They have not been at Wrigley Field since June of 1998. Now the 0-1. High curve is outside. The thing I remember about their last appearance at Wrigley, it was during the month in which Sammy Sosa hit 20 home runs. June of 98.
That was something.
But the Tribe will be at Wrigley. Now the leg kick for the 2-1 to Victor Martinez. In there for a called strike 2. The Indians figure to be a contender in that American League Central Division.
Well, we talked about this. I feel, looking at the division, it's pretty equal, no doubt about it. A lot of parity in that division, but I think if you had to pick a favorite, I would say Cleveland would be, and Minnesota right there, and Chicago. You never know about the White Sox. So it should be interesting.
Here's a pitch fouled away. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
They had some big injuries last year.
Now the windup and the 2-2. Swinging a foul back. Right down below us. I would have stayed in there, but
I didn't.
It's not a regular season game. Regular season, I'm all over that thing. Spring training, nah.
Oh, that almost. Did you go that way?
2-2 on Victor Martinez.
I saw it coming towards you, and I went left.
Here's a big bouncer foul toward third. We'll do it again. And we are located right behind home plate, slightly off to the first base side.
Well, I had my son behind me, and I guess he moved the same direction as I did.
Jeff Santo. Jeff says, I want to produce and direct and write some more films. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Martinez. Here's the windup by Lilly in the pitch. Fastball, strike 3 call. The inning is over. 6 strikeouts for Lilly, but another home run by Mark DeRosa. We go to the bottom of the third. The score, Indians 3, Cubs nothing. Ryan Theriot to lead off the bottom of the third. The 15th out of the game just took place, and it's sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on auto insurance. Geico. Pat and Ron with you from Hohokam Park. Theriot lines a base hit to left.
Boy, is he hot. Woo!
Theriot's solid single on Fausto Carmona's first pitch. And here's Derek Lee.
How many, do you have his numbers? How many hits does he have? Do they have that?
I'll get it for you, Ron. Theriot at first as Lee, who bounced into a fielder's choice, climbs in. For Theriot, that is base hit number 23.
Wow.
In the spring.
Yeah.
In 54 at-bats.
So, there gives you an idea. Theriot's going to probably get anywhere from, I would say, 70 to 80 at-bats. Wouldn't you?
If he keeps playing all week,
yeah.
At least 60. Yeah. Here's Derek Lee hitting a high fly ball into shallow right. Carroll out, Garco in. Garco, the right fielder, makes a good running catch over near the line in shallow right for out number one. Right field can be a tough sun field here in Mesa. Mainly cloudy today, but now the sun's starting to shine brightly. Little breeze still blowing out. Here is Milton Bradley. 3-0 Indians. Mark DeRosa with 2 elongated home runs. Bradley drives one in the air. Deep right field. This has got a chance.
Yes.
Gone.
He knew it when he hit it.
Milton Bradley, a line drive over the bullpen in right. A screaming line drive home run, and the Cubs are on the board. It's 3-2.
I talked to Lou about him, and you know what I'm amazed at, and Pat, we heard the fact that he's very disciplined at the plate. His on-base percentage is pretty high, but this spring you could see he gets on base a lot, and of course the most home runs he's ever hit is 20, but he's had a lot of injuries. He stays healthy, and he'll be in that 30 bracket.
Here is Aramis Ramirez. Cubs trail by a run. Ramirez hits a high pop fly right side and playable for the second baseman Carroll in short right near the line, 2 down. Ramirez pops out, and the batter Mike Fontenot. 3-2 Cleveland here in the bottom of the third. All of the scoring on home runs.
Well, that ball was hit quickly and out of here quickly.
Cubs baseball today brought to you by Square D. Square D, part of the power at Wrigley Field. Fontenot reached on an error his first time. He takes a strike. Nope, it was high for ball one.
Part of the power at Santos' house, too.
The electricity never goes out at Ron Santos' house. He's got generators behind generators. That's courtesy of Square D, I believe, isn't it?
Well, of course.
Yeah. I'll bet that set you back up.
It did, but it's worth it, boy.
Yeah.
It's
exactly
worth
how
it.
much did you pay for that?
I'm not going to tell you how much I paid.
Freebie, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It really wasn't.
Probably did a commercial for it.
No.
Took you about a minute and a half. Here's a swinging a ground ball right side, fielded by Graffinino. Shovels it to Carmona, and that's the inning. But the Cubs get on the board on the homer by Milton Bradley. We go to the fourth inning. The score, Indians 3, Cubs 2.
From the WGN newsroom, ComEd says
Ted Lilly delivers low to Johnny Peralta as the fourth inning gets underway. 3-2 Indians. Peralta, Garco, and Francisco against the Cub left-hander Ted Lilly. Here's a high leg kick and the pitch. Line to left, past a diving Terrio for a base hit. Terrio lunging, not a full-out dive. He moved toward the hole, tried to make a backhanded lunging catch, and I think he may have lost that ball in the crowd.
You know, you might be right, Pat, because if he felt, I mean, you know, an infielder will, you know, when you got to dive, that's instinctive. But there, it looked like he had a good look at it, but then you're probably right, lost it.
Here is Ryan Garco. He struck out his first time. 3-2 Indians in the fourth. Last year's 17-game winner, Ted Lilly, fires a strike, and it's 0-1. Lilly's scheduled to make one more start in the upcoming week. He might start that Friday night game in New York against the Yankees prior to starting Game 3 in the series in Houston. Bouncer to short, charging Terrio. Throw to second, one in time. The throw kind of handcuffed Fontenot. Fontenot fortunate to hang on to that quick, short toss.
Well, you know, and Fontenot was going to the back of the bag because the runner was going to be right on him. And if he'd have caught that the way about chest high, he probably would have jumped off the bag and made a throw, but he made sure of one. It's the right thing to do.
One away and a man at first. Cubs trail 3-2 in the fourth, and here is Ben Francisco.
Now, this is amazing.
Fly ball, right center field. Well hit, but it's playable for Gathright. In deep right center, Joey makes the catch, battling a tough Sun. As soon as he grabbed it, he quickly looked away real fast. That tells you the eyes were burning looking up into that sun. 2 down, Ron.
You know, I was thinking, Pat, when I looked at this lineup, and Martinez, who is the catcher, hitting third. You don't see that too often.
No, you don't.
No, because eventually, you know, you can't be on base. I mean, he's a real good hitter and a good RBI man, but boy, when you're on base that much and catching that much, it's going to get to you. That bat's going to slow down a little bit, I think.
As you said that, there's only a few that I can think of that hit third. I think Mike Piazza hit third.
I was thinking of Mike, yes.
For a while.
Hit third and fourth.
Base hit to right by Jamie Carroll on a hanging curve from Lilly. Stopping at second is Peralta. 2 hits in the inning, 2 down. 5 hits in the game for the Tribe, and here is Tony Graffinino. Carroll a base hit to right a moment ago. Garco stopping at second. And here is Graffinino. Still waiting for the attendance figure today. The Cubs averaging almost 11,000 per game. Amazing in this economy.
Yeah, it really is.
Here's a looper, shallow right, coming in Bradley. Milton is there. He's got it to end the inning. No runs on 2 hits, 2 left for the Indians. We've played 3.5. The score, Cleveland 3 and the Cubs 2. Before Soto leads off the Cubs fourth, let's pause 10 seconds for station ID on the WGN Cubs radio network. With Ron Santo, Pat Hughes in Mesa, Arizona. Cubs trail 3-2 to the Indians. Bottom of the fourth, Soto takes low ball one. Soto, Gathright, and either Lilly or a pinch hitter. Cubs still have some roster cuts to make, as every team still does.
Yeah, there are going to be a few today. And then I think by Wednesday we'll be down to 25, but I'm sure they're going to carry a couple extra ball players to New York.
Probably some extra pitching.
Yeah.
There's a broken bat looper into shallow right. Garco is there to glove it for out number one. Cubs right now have 37 players in camp. There are 9 non-roster invitees among those 37. They still have 18 pitchers, so certainly several pitchers have to be moved. There are 4 catchers, 8 infielders, and 7 outfielders. And these are really some of the most difficult moments for a manager and a general manager all season long. Who do you keep?
And
who do you let go?
For that player that's been here that long.
Very tough times.
Mm-hmm.
One away. Gathright pokes a base hit to left. Sharp ground ball by the left-handed batter through the left side. And Ted Lilly will bat for himself. I was looking around at some of the moves, Ron. The Cincinnati Reds have reassigned Javier Valentin, but instead of going to the minor leagues, he has decided instead to become a free agent. So Javier Valentin is available. The Nationals have placed outfielder Willie Molpena on waivers. I remember when he came up with the Reds a few years ago, you thought this guy might hit 50 home runs.
Right.
He had tremendous power.
Tremendous power.
But he had injuries, and he really didn't find a defensive spot.
No, you couldn't find a defense, and really, he was either going to hit home runs or not much for average.
Carmona's pitch to Lilly, bunted toward the mound. The catcher, Martinez, looks at second but throws to first. Good sacrifice, 2-3. Safe at second, Gathright. He's the tying run here in the fourth with 2 down for Soriano. I see where the Reds have also sent Corey Patterson to their minor league camp.
Oh, my God. What has happened? That's got to be a mental thing with Corey. He's always... That's a shame.
He had a lot of talent.
Oh, did he ever?
And tools, speed, and power.
Yeah.
He could throw. Here is Soriano batting. He has grounded out and struck out. Carmona's pitch. Soriano pulls a ground ball to third, backhanded by DeRosa. Long throw and a good throw to end the inning. Cubs don't score, leave 1. We've played 4, Indians 3, Cubs 2. Fifth inning, Ted Lilly's first pitch, bunted foul by Fausto Carmona, 0-1. Carmona, Sizemore, and DeRosa here in the fifth inning. 3-2 Indians. Mark DeRosa with 2 home runs against his former mates today. Here's a bunt foul. DeRosa with a 2-run homer in the first, a solo in the third. Milton Bradley with a 2-run homer for the Cubs in the third inning. Ronnie, as we approach the start of another big league season, I was thinking about part of the fun of Major League Baseball is always the unpredictable nature of things that happen. Here's the pitch. Called strike 3, 1 away. For example, go back to just last year. Who would have ever thought, going back a year ago today, which would have been the last week of spring training of 2008, how many people really thought that Tampa Bay would win the American League pennant? Not one fan in a million would have thought that.
No.
Not with the Tampa Bay club in the same division as the Yankees and Red Sox.
And after having 2 horrible years, unbelievable.
Here's Grady Sizemore. You and I were discussing as Sizemore drives one to deep right, but playable for Bradley. Milton's got it, 2 down. 3-2 Cleveland in the fifth. You and I and your son Ron Jr., we were talking about the upcoming season and which teams we thought would be strong and which we thought might be weak. And I always like to, talk about that as much as anybody, but I always like to say invariably there will be surprises.
Oh, yes.
There's going to be a team that no one is thinking about right now that's going to play 10 times better than you thought they would, and they're going to be a contender. You don't know who it is yet. Here's a deep fly to center field off the bat of DeRosa. Back is Gathright. This ball is off the top of the center field wall, and DeRosa has a double.
What is going on?
He has hit 3 balls today for about 1,400 feet.
Oh, my gosh.
He hit that high off the center field wall. It's 410 to the barrier. It's about a 40-foot high backdrop. He missed a homer by about, I'd say, 10 feet.
Oh, geez.
Now, you were saying earlier they're good friends, right?
Yeah, they're good friends. I don't think they'll be very good friends after this.
I think the friendship has changed.
Yeah.
Here's Victor Martinez. 3-2 Indians in the fifth.
And on that first pitch,
Martinez takes a strike. Soto out to talk to Ted Lilly. Tribe leading by a run here in the fifth inning. But not only, Ron, will there be a surprise good team, there's probably also going to be a surprise team that fails and does not perform as well. And you don't know who that's going to be.
That's exactly right.
And that's part of the mystery of a baseball season.
And injuries play a big part in that.
Sure. Some of the older
key
guys.
Key players. That, when you look at, what was the team we were talking about, lost 3 key players? Rockies. Talk about Holiday. When you lose a guy like Holiday, you're losing that offense a little bit because it just puts more pressure on guys to get the job done, to cover him, and you start squeezing that bat. But when you got a guy like Holiday in the lineup, the rest of them are more relaxed. It's a psychological effect. And it's like at the end of the year, I liked what Jim Hendry did at the end of this year after winning 2 divisional titles. We got 12 new guys, Patrick. Mm-hmm. And you got to do that. Because that in itself, when you say, we come up with Bradley, the rest of the team saying, oh, man, we're a lot stronger. And
the 2-1 is taken down low by Victor Martinez.
Because how many times you see a team go, I'm not talking about, especially a World Series team, go back-to-back. Not very often. And it's because you don't make any changes sometimes, and everybody's after you. That's the other factor.
Chop foul left side. Another thing, Ron, that I always like to think about, you talk about surprise teams, there will be surprise ball players. Just look in the Cubs' own division last year. I'll take two examples, Kyle Loesch and Aaron Harang. Let's take a look at Kyle Loesch first. He could have been signed by any club last year at about this time. I think he was signed in spring training by St. Louis. He became one of the best starters in the league. He was 15-6. Here's a base hit to left center. This will drive in DeRosa, and Cleveland leads 4-2. Lilly hung a bender that time, and Martinez hung out a rope to left center. It's an RBI single, and it's 4-2 Cleveland here in the fifth, and the batter Johnny Peralta. But Kyle Loesch still is with St. Louis, signed a multi-year deal at the end of the year with the Cardinals. But he could have been had by anybody.
Yeah.
Everyone else took a pass on him. The Cardinals said, yeah, we'll take a try. We'll take a flyer on that guy. Why not? And Loesch was 15-6. Now, on the other hand, you had Aaron Harang, a guy who for the last 4 or 5 years has been one of the contenders for the Cy Young for Cincinnati. But he had an arm injury as Lilly delivers to Peralta. Swing and a miss. Good fastball. Harang suffered through a miserable 6-17 year. There's no way you could have predicted that.
You can't predict that.
So those individual performances that are either much better or much worse than you thought, those have a dramatic effect on your overall team. Here's a swing and a miss. Good change.
Well, we were talking about teams in our division, and we looked at the fact that there's a lot of competition as far as offense goes, but lack a little pitching. And we were talking about the Cardinals. And I understand the Cardinals are having a very good spring pitching-wise. Carpenter is really having a good spring. So, you just never know. You just never know. And, thinking that pitching's the problem, and then you come out of spring training, you got a little more confidence.
A pitch on the way to Johnny Peralta. Change-up is outside.
But we always say about the Cardinals, you never know.
Never forget about them.
They're always there.
Never count them out. But yes, if Carpenter does come back, even if he's 90% as effective as what he was, he'll still be good. Lilly comes back. Swing and a miss at a high fastball, strike 3. Cleveland gets a run on 2 hits, leave 1. We are halfway home, middle of the fifth. The score, Cleveland 4, Cubs 2. It is the fifth inning, the Fifth Third Bank fifth inning, in fact, with Ron Santo, Pat Hughes. Thanks to Fifth Third Bank for sponsoring the fifth inning. Terrio, Lee, and Bradley against Fausto Carmona. Good ball game so far today. Lots of action. 4-2 Indians. Terrio has walked and singled. See if the Cubs can rally in the fifth. Terrio bunts in the air, foul, and out of play. Looking at some of the notes around baseball, the Tigers, man, Jim Leland has his work cut out for him, Ron. I'm reading about Dontrell Willis.
Oh, man.
Former left-handed flamethrower with Florida.
Gosh.
Now, this guy is a complete mystery. His spring training ERA is over 12. This is after a year in which he was sent to the minors for a while. And he is owed, let's see, his salary this year is $10 million, $12 million next year. And they don't even know if he's going to be effective enough to keep in the big leagues to start this year.
Isn't that something?
So that's a mystery.
Oh, yeah, it really is. And for a guy that was so confident, all of a sudden, you just wonder, he's got arm problems, and he's...
It says here his velocity is down. His control has been dreadful.
That was always a factor.
Terrio waits for Fausto Carmona, but at one time, he was very impressive.
Yeah.
He was athletic. He worked fast. He threw hard. He threw strikes. There was a certain style about him, Ron. He just came right after you.
Exactly, and he pumped the team up. I mean, he was a team guy.
Dontrell Willis. You wonder if he'll be back to what he once was. And now he's with the Tigers as Terrio
How
takes
old
low.
is he?
He can't be that old. I'd say maybe 27-ish,
Yeah, that's
28.
what I was thinking, because came out of the organization, our organization. Who'd we trade him for?
That was part of the Matt Clement and Antonio Alfonseca trade. It was right before you did that memorable interview with Antonio Alfonseca. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Chopped foul toward third. It was one of the shorter pregame interviews that we've ever heard. Well done, though.
It was well done. I don't think anybody understood the word he said. And
I know I didn't.
Plus the fact he would hesitate, and I'd have to come up with another question before he answered the first one.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Ontario, bouncing ball, fair, inside third, down the left field line, base hit. Bouncing off the sidewall, Terrio is going to have a double to lead off this 5th inning.
My.
Just fair over the third base bag. DeRosa dove, missed it by a foot.
3 hits for Terrio. You got that, or is...
A walk, a single, and a double.
Yeah, right.
And here is Derek Lee, 4-2 Indians, bottom of the 5th. I remember you had a good first question to Alfonseca. He answered it. I'm not sure exactly what he said, but as soon as it was done, you said, Antonio, here's the pitch on the way. Lee takes a strike. And you said, you've had some arm trouble. Have you ever had surgery? He said, no. And you said, thank you very much. We'll be back with more in a minute. No. Here's a bluff pickoff throw by Carmona to second base. Terrio dives back in. We've got that interview saved somewhere. We should play that on a pregame show. Maybe during a rain delay sometime.
Yes. It'll be a minute long.
Yeah. Lee has forced a runner and flied out today. The pitch to Derek. Check swing. It's low and away, and the count 1-1. Great crowd. They'd love to see Derek get a hold of one. The ball really carrying in Mesa today. Thanks to AT&T for sponsoring Cubs baseball. They'll bring you this date in baseball history and Cubs history all season long. AT&T. The pitch. Derek, it's a bouncing ball left side. Backhanded stop by Peralta. Throws to first, and it's not in time. Terrio safe at third. Great backhanded stop by Peralta. The shortstop in shallow left. That ball was ticketed for left field.
Oh, yeah. The ball was hit pretty good. He came up with it, set himself, and, earlier, was it a hamstring? a quad, I think. That
it was a quad.
It was a quad. And Derek running very hard there. I hope he didn't pull anything.
Back-to-back hits for the Cubs. No activity in either bullpen. And now, as I say that, I think the Indians are going to get somebody ready. Milton Bradley, the batter. 4-2 Cleveland, bottom of the fifth. Bradley belted a home run his last time.
Oh, yeah, he's walking off.
Derek Lee will leave this game.
Oh, my God.
What did you see, Ron?
I saw him. He was running hard, and he ran hard, but as soon as he hit the bag, he kind of came up like, I feel that, you know. So, I don't know.
Here's Bradley, first and third, a pinch runner at first base for the Cubs. Infield back the pitch. Bradley takes outside for a ball, 1-0. I'm not sure if that's Micah Hoffpower or not. Might be. Pinch running. We'll identify him momentarily. Terrio, hands on knees, leads in foul territory at third. Bradley hits a bouncing ball slowly to first. Charging as Graffinino has one play to first. Terrio scores. Out at first, Bradley. Safe at second is Hoffpower. The Cubs get a run. It's now 4-3. Bradley hit a little chopper. Terrio got a very quick jump from third.
Yeah, he did. And, well, you know, that type of ball, you're going to go, especially on a ball like that, you know you got a chance to score. It was a high hopper, and he scored really easy. He went right on contact. I guess he was running on contact.
That is Micah Hoffpower, pinch running at second. Bradley out on the play that goes 3-1. Graffinino wanted in the worst way to throw home, but as an infielder, there comes a point where you see the runner is just too close to the plate, and you know you have no chance. So you just resignedly throw the ball to first and settle for the one instead of getting the lead man. Tying run at second. Here's Ramirez. A Ramos 1 for 2. A pitch by Carmona. Bouncing ball to short. Holding at second, Hoffpower. Peralta throws out Ramirez. 2 down.
Ramirez went after a bad ball. Usually Ramirez with man on in scoring position, he's usually very patient. He went after a fastball that was down and away, and you don't want to pull that ball, but you do, because you go out after it and you end up pulling it, and you get a ground ball and an out.
Here's Fontenot. Let's see if little Mike can tie this game. 4-3 Indians. First pitch strike from Carmona. You can tell the movement on the pitches of Carmona.
Yeah, and good velocity. And
big kid.
Yeah.
Throws a little bit three-quarters.
Yes, and that's another thing, Pat. I got to believe it's a two-seamer, and sometimes she'll probably, with the velocity, you know, it doesn't move as much when he gets it up there at 95. But if you take something off, it's going to move a lot, because he's definitely three-quarters with two-seamer, which the ball will run away from a left-hander and into a right-hander.
2 outs, a run in, a man at second. Fifth inning, Cubs trail 4-3 the pitch. Fontenot takes low, 2-1. Carmona figures to be one of the starters for the Indians, maybe number 2 or 3. You know that last year's Cy Young Award winner Cliff Lee is their main man.
Yeah. Well, what a year he had.
22 wins, only 3 losses.
I watched him pitch the other night, I guess about a week ago, whatever it was.
Fontenot takes a strike run.
He throws hard, and he's got a good breaking ball, keeps the ball down.
Lee 22-3 with a 2.5 ERA.
Yeah, gee whiz.
2-2 on Fontenot. Tying run at second. The pitch. Swinging a bouncing ball foul past first. We were talking about John Lackey of the Angels yesterday. The first story said he had a sore forearm. Sure enough, The story today, following up on John Lackey, says he received a cortisone shot in his right elbow. There you go.
Yeah. Well, you said it.
Yeah.
You know, when they talk about, they don't want to say it's an elbow problem.
But it is.
And it is. It is right.
If they say forearm, usually, folks, that means elbow for a pitcher. Here's the pitch. A ground ball deep at first, gloved by Graffinino, feeds overhand to Carmona on the bag to get Fontenot. Inning over. Cubs settle for 1, leave 1. We go to the 6th. Tribe, or Cleveland, 4, and the Cubs, 3. Pat and Ron with you on this Sunday afternoon. Our next broadcast Saturday from New York. Cubs play the Yankees in that brand new ballpark in the Bronx. We understand it is right next door to the old Yankee Stadium as Ted Lilly fires to Ryan Garco outside.
I sure didn't see anything wrong with the Yankee Stadium. Hey, how many years ago was it that they refurbished that?
Was it in the 1970s sometime, Ron?
Was it really?
I think both teams played at Shea there for a year or two.
Yeah, well, I played there at Shea when I was with the White Sox. So it was in 74, yeah.
So there's your answer, yeah.
Yeah, there's my answer, that's right.
2 balls and no strikes on Garco. I'm kind of curious to see what the new ballparks both look like for the Mets and the Yankees. Here's the pitch on the way. Bouncing ball foul left side.
Well, I don't think that ballpark with the Mets is going to be any comparison to what it costs the Yankees.
What was the cost there?
Oh, it was
like $500 million?
Oh, I'm hearing close to $1 billion.
Really? Here's the 2-1 pitch on the way to Garco.
I don't know, and so I'll take that back, but I know it's up there. And I think all the new ballparks are great.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The 2-2 pitch on the way to Garco. Line foul off to the right. I was looking at some attendance figures a year ago, Ron, and it was the last year of both Yankee Stadium and Shea. Did you realize both of those teams drew over 4 million last year?
Is that right?
Yeah, the Yankees 4.2 million and the Mets just over 4. But that's a lot of fans in one city in one baseball season.
Yeah.
Down low, 3-2 to Garco. Both teams led their respective leagues in attendance. Here's the pitch on the way. Loop foul back out of play.
Both stadiums hold 50, don't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Dodgers drew 3.7 million a year ago. The Cardinals checked in at 3.4. The world champion Phillies 3.4, and then the Cubs at 3.3. Now the pitch. Garco loops it foul and out of play. Only a handful of teams now are under 2 million in attendance. In fact, the only two National League teams under 2 million a year ago were the Pirates and the Marlins. That's it. Everyone else was 2 million and above. Now the 3-2 fouled away again.
Were they at a million?
Yeah.
Marlins?
Florida 1.3 and the Pirates 1.6. Cincinnati just over 2.
Well, Marlins got a good ball club. They've got to get a stadium if they're going to draw anybody.
Well, they've been having political battles for years over a new park down there. The 3-2 from Lilly. Garco takes low ball 4.
You know, I was thinking, Pat, is you would think a ball club like that with the minor league system, what they have done since they've been in the major leagues, I mean, new franchise, it's unbelievable. You would think some city would buy them and bring them in.
Florida with 2 world titles already.
Yeah,
and they've only been around since 1993. A pinch runner at first as Ben Francisco bats for the Indians. We'll try to identify all of these changes as we are able. I'll tell you, I'm encouraged, I don't know about you, the fact that Ted Lilly is still pitching in this game and we are in the 6th inning.
Well, that's the Bulldog.
Well, I wasn't sure if he would have that kind of stamina yet.
Yeah, well, evidently he does. He's in great shape.
Lilly's pitch on the way, low and outside, a changeup from Francisco. We mentioned before the game, Lilly, including Cactus League and World Baseball Classic competition, had worked a grand total of only 8 1/3 innings before today. And here he is working inning number 6. That's encouraging. The pitch on the way, low and inside to the right-handed batting Francisco. 4-3 Cleveland in the 6th. Mark DeRosa with 2 home runs and 3 runs batted in for the Indians. Here's a high fastball. Milton Bradley has driven in all 3 runs for the Cubs with a homer and a groundout. Outfield straightaway against the right-handed batting Francisco. The 3-0. Right down the middle for a called strike.
Boy, good change, breaking ball. Good pitch.
Story on Cliff Lee in the paper today. It says that Indians general manager Mark Shapiro has told Cliff and his representatives, here's a strike on the outside, 3-2. He has said that they are going to put on hold their negotiations for a contract extension for Cliff Lee. He is going to be paid $5.75 million this season. The Indians hold a club option at $9 million for 2010. Here's the pitch lifted to right, slicing foul. This ball is going to drift out of play.
Well, I don't quite understand this. Because Lee, didn't he just come up from the minor leagues?
He's been around. This is about his 4th year.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So he didn't go to arbitration. Is that what you're saying?
No, he's in the at the end of a multi-year deal apparently, Ron, with the option year for next season.
I got you. Okay.
Here's a throw to first, but there's still plenty of time.
Oh yeah.
He's got really 2 full seasons before he does become a free agent. Saw a story that's almost funny. It's sad in a way for a guy, but almost comical. Ronnie Paulino, remember him?
Yes.
Here's a pitch low. The runner goes, but the play
ball 4
is not a play at second because it's ball 4 to the batter Francisco. The catcher Soto went ahead and threw the ball down to Terrio covering second, but it was irrelevant after the base on balls. 2 on, back-to-back walks from Lilly. Activity in the Cub pen. And here's Jamie Carroll.
So go ahead.
Here's a story on Ronnie Paulino, Ron. He was traded yesterday for the second time in 24 hours and the third time since December. The Giants sent Paulino to the Florida Marlins for minor league pitcher Hector Correa. It was announced yesterday after Paulino had been traded Friday night to the Giants from the Phillies in exchange for left-handed pitcher Jack Tashner. So he feels like a human pinball, doesn't he?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Larry Rothschild to the mound. Ted Lilly will leave. Back-to-back walks start the sixth inning, and that spells the end of the line for Ted this afternoon. It is 4-3 Cleveland. We're in the sixth. For a quick oil change, go to Oil Express. We'll be back with more baseball after this on the WGN Cubs Radio Network. Chad Godin, the new pitcher for the Cubs, top of the sixth inning, with Ron Santo, Pat Hughes in Mesa at Hohokam Park on what has turned out to be a beautiful day. Still some clouds in the area, but lots of sunshine, a great crowd on hand, and a good ball game. 4-3, Cleveland leading in this sixth inning. Jamie Carroll to face Chad Godin.
Well, you know, I thought Lilly did a good job, Pat, and you brought up the fact that he has gone 6 innings. We didn't expect that.
Yeah.
But his stamina, and, you know, he's special. I really mean that. This is a guy, and you think about him, Pat, the last 2 years as a Cubby, unbelievable, 15 wins, 17 wins. And he's a stopper when we're in a losing streak. He's always the guy that comes in and all of a sudden stops the bleeding.
Godin delivers inside for a ball. The Cubs are fortunate they really have 2 or 3 guys.
Yes.
That can perform that stopper role, stop those streaks before they get to 4 or 5 or 6 losses in a row. Godin's pitch fouled away, and the count 1-1.
Godin fastball, I would say 88, 89 maybe, and he's got a slider and a changeup.
Ronnie Paulino, former Pirate catcher, has been with 3 different organizations now in the last 3 days.
Well,
I don't think I'd answer the phone today if I was him.
I would be very upset. Why are you sending me, you know, over here and then send me over there? Boy, a lot of plane rides.
He was with the Giants for 1 day, and I was asking you, does he even get a paycheck?
Oh, I know one thing. You would slap a 20 on him.
At least. Ground ball to third, foul, just foul. There was a guy, and I forget the guy's name. He was an outfielder, and he was traded last year. I remember, I want to say the teams were Oakland and Atlanta and Washington. Left-handed batting outfielder. I forget his name. But he was traded from one of those teams to another. And before that team even got home to a homestand, he was traded to another team. Here's a high pop fly left side. Ramirez, the third baseman, will glove it for out number 1. But it is a business run, and every time you are traded, it's probably a little bit of a shock, but I guess you have to say, hey, somebody else wanted me.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
Well, sometimes, Pat, I believe this. You're struggling with the team you're with. All of a sudden, you get new life. You move and you think, hey, it's a new start. Make the best of it.
Tony Graffinino batting. First and second, 1 away. 6th inning, 4-3 Cleveland. Chad Godin working on the right-handed batter. Again, thanks to Oil Express for sponsoring all these pitching changes this season. A swing and a high pop fly. This is going to be out number 2. Shallow center. Gathright will put it away. 2 down. And Carmona, the pitcher, will bat for himself, apparently. But again, a thanks to Walt Ellis, our producer engineer. He has done a nice job all spring. He and Ryan Oler.
Yeah, they both have done a wonderful job. And this is it, other than New York, but this is it in Arizona. And of course, we want to thank all the ho-ho cams and all the wonderful fans, all our sponsors.
Here's Carmona batting, swinging and missing, and the count is 0-1.
I want to thank you for being here.
Johnny, I want to thank you for staying all 9 innings yesterday.
I had no alternative.
We were down in Tucson yesterday. Ron has earlier this year, and then it's completely understandable, and it's no big deal for him to leave in the last inning or so to beat the traffic.
Traffic, and I can't say no to fans, so I would never get out of here. I'd be in traffic all day. So, but yesterday we're in Tucson, and of course Pat, for the first time. Usually I pick up Pat at the hotel, and then he drives there and back. This time I had my son.
Here's the bunt toward third. Ramirez is going to throw out Carmona to end the inning. We'll finish this story in a moment. We go to the bottom of inning number 6. It remains Cleveland 4. Bottom of inning number 6. Let's see if the Cubs can rally. They are down by only a run. For the benefit of those who are just joining us on this Sunday, former Cub Mark DeRosa has put on a tremendous display of power with 2 long home runs, one with a man on, and also a double. DeRosa has driven in 3 and scored 3. He has really been the Indian offense. Victor Martinez drove in DeRosa with a single, and Milton Bradley has driven in all 3 Cub runs with a 2-run homer and an infield ground out back in the 5th inning. Soto leads off the Cubs' 6th, Gathright, and a pinch hitter to follow. Valdez, the new second baseman for the Indians, and Williams in right.
You know, that's usually the case, too. Getting traded, I think he was surprised that it happened. And there's always, when you face a team that traded you, you always move it up a notch, and he sure has.
Soto takes a strike, and it's 0-1. If the Cubs can rally and score some insurance runs today, they'll be brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Soto takes outside. 1-1. State Farm. There were a lot of insurance runs a year ago. And there very well could be a lot of insurance runs this season for this Cubs team.
What do we have, 840 or whatever?
Swing and a miss by Soto. Cubs led the league in run scoring.
Yeah, 800, I don't know.
Over 8, like 855, I believe.
Wow.
Let's see if I can get that exact figure. Cubs scored 855 runs a year ago.
Who was next to us?
Chop foul. The second best team scoring runs in the league was the Mets at 799. So the Cubs had 56 runs more than the runner-up team. That's a big margin.
Yeah.
Now the 1-2 by Carmona. Swinging a foul by Soto.
So is there a record for runs scored?
The most runs by a team in a season? I'm sure there is. I do not know who it has. Might have to go back to one of those seasons in about 1930 and 31 when they put a little jackrabbit in the ball, I think, for a while. It was during the Depression, and baseball had to figure out a way to attract fans to the ballparks. Check swing. Did he go? No swing. 2-2. And that was the year, 1930, I think, was the year that Hack Wilson drove in 191 runs.
Ooh.
You had Lou Gehrig drive in about 184. Lots and lots of runs were scored. The 2-2. Ground ball left side, wide of third. DeRosa makes a nice pick, spins and throws out Soto. DeRosa is a very good third baseman.
Yes, he is. We talked about this. He's very versatile. He can play any place in the outfield and in the infield. And what a job. I think you'll probably agree with me is that I think he's a better third baseman than he is a second baseman. He just, he's built to play third. And his instincts are fabulous.
Gathright lines it foul down the line in left. I think third is his best spot overall.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
I was impressed with DeRosa's play in right field also. When he filled in for the Cubs the last couple of years out in right. That's not an easy thing to do.
No, that's not.
Especially at Wrigley. That's a tough field to play. And he didn't miss a beat out there.
No.
Gathright is 2 for 2. Look out. Joey backs away from a high inside fastball. Each team with 7 hits. Cubs trail 4-3 in the 6th. Shallow at third now is DeRosa. Carmona fires again. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
Threw that high fastball there right by him.
Cubs will be home 2 weeks from Monday night. The home opener, always a great day, at Wrigley Field, Monday, April the 13th against Colorado. A day off the following day. Colorado's series resumes on that Wednesday, the 15th. Here's a ball outside. And then the Cardinals come to town for a 4-game series on Thursday, April the 16th. Tickets available. Give the Cubs a call at 1-800-THE-CUBS or go to Cubs.com. Here's a ball down low. Yeah, the Cubs have a lot of exciting games, but boy, Ronnie, for my money, those games with St. Louis are right at the top of the list.
You got
every year.
It's every year, and it's been proven. It's amazing how both sides play such good baseball against each other.
They're just fun.
That's right.
They're fun games to watch. Here's a ground ball back to the mound, and Carmona throws out Gathright, 2 down. How about the play on those? What were those like?
Oh, it was. I mean, when we played, the players, when we played, I mean, it was like walk across the white lines. Nobody was our friend. I mean, that's the way it was with the Cardinals series. We had more fights with the Cardinals, I would say, than anybody.
Here is Sam Fuld hitting a fly ball into shallow left, caught by an oncoming Ben Francisco to end the inning. That was Aaron Miles. Aaron Miles who hit that pop fly to left to end the inning. 3 up, 3 down at the end of 6. The score, Cleveland 4 and the Cubs 3.
From the WGN Weather Center, possibility of some late.
Grady Sizemore lines the first pitch into the right field corner to start the 7th inning. He is around second, heading to third, and sliding in with a leadoff triple against Chad Godin.
Well, there's a ball player, Pat, right there. Sizemore, he can run, he can hit a home run on occasions. Great outfielder. Oh.
He is a gamer.
Yeah, he's a gamer, is right.
And here is Mark DeRosa. 4-3 Indians in the 7th. Infield back, DeRosa has hit 2 home runs and a booming double. Chad Godin's pitch on the way, and DeRosa takes high, ball 1. DeRosa with 3 RBIs and 3 runs scored today. 7th inning. Today's game being brought to you by Square D. Here's a line drive into deep center. Back goes Gathright. He'll make the catch. Tagging and scoring is Sizemore. And now it is 5-3 Indians. Another hard hit ball by DeRosa. It goes for a sacrifice fly. Cleveland with a 2-run lead, 1 away in the 7th, and here's Victor Martinez. Martinez 1 for 3 with an RBI single. Cubs baseball brought to you by Square D. Square D, part of the power at Wrigley Field. First pitch missing, ball 1. 13,000 are here today. 13,097.
How about that? Boy, I tell you, it's been something.
Earlier this week, in fact, just a couple of days ago, against the White Sox here in Mesa, the Cubs and Sox drew 13,327. Here's a sharp ground ball into center field, a base hit. Martinez singling sharply up the middle. And the batter, Johnny Peralta, with 1 away and 1 on. 9 hits for the Indians, 7 for the Cubs. That crowd on Friday, the all-time Cactus League single-game attendance record, 13,327. Johnny Peralta. Here's the pitch by Godin. Peralta takes a strike. For whatever reason, Johnny Peralta spells his first name J-H-O-N-N-Y, not J-O-H-N-N-Y. He puts, as they pitch a curveball down low for a ball, the H is before the O. Looks like Johanny Peralta.
Well, that's probably what it is.
No, they call him Johnny.
Oh.
Swinging a high foul off to the right and out of play. Might just be there to confuse people, Ron.
Well, you confuse me all the time.
Well, I try.
Yeah.
Glad I'm achieving that objective. Like Larry Bittner had a double I in the back of his name.
Yeah, Larry did. Yes.
It was B-I-I.
And I played with Bittner, and I've been around him, and I never thought about that, but of course you do.
Did he seem a little different with that spelling like that?
Extra I.
I would think it would. Here's a swing and a miss, and that's strike 3. In fact, Peralta strikes out. I was thinking about the spelling of his name there for a minute. 2 down, and the batter Ryan Garco.
Boy, you talk about a good left-hander hitter, Bittner. Woo. Take that ball out of the ballpark, all fields. Good ball player.
Now a pinch hitter coming up for the Indians. This is number 85. And I am looking on every information sheet that I have. I do not have a 85. So we're going to call this guy Tom Hamilton. That's also the name of the Cleveland fine radio play-by-play man, Tom Hamilton. This is his namesake right here. Hamilton checks, and that'll be taken for a strike. And the count is 1-1. Tom working along with former big leaguer Mike Hegan on Cleveland radio right next door. Here's the pitch. Swinging a foul at the plate.
Does Mike do some TV too, or just radio?
Does a little bit of TV,
yeah.
mainly radio with Tom.
Uh-huh.
Mike, a former first baseman, played with the Oakland A's on a couple of their real good teams back in the early 70s when they won 3 straight world titles. And the pitch, low and inside. It gets away from the catcher. That's not Soto. And down to second goes Victor Martinez. I believe that is Coy Hill catching for the Cubs at this point. It is.
Fastball.
Fastball charged against Coy Hill. 5-3 Indians, top of the 7th, 2 down. A run is in for Cleveland. The left-handed batting Hamilton hits a big chop slowly up along first and foul. Michael Hoffpauer did stay in the game to play first base. No word on Derek Lee. I hope that it was nothing serious.
I think it's probably the quad, because he knew he wanted that base hit, and he was running hard. But I don't know if he pulled it, but he felt something.
Godin's pitch, very high for a ball. Lee left the game back in the 5th inning after an infield single.
Maybe he's all right. Maybe they just wanted to give him a little rest.
Yeah, sometimes in the spring, that's about when
Yeah.
players would leave anyway. The pitch. Hamilton drives one in the air. Deep right field. This is going to be a long home run for Tom Hamilton.
Well, that was a flat slider that just sat right there and said, hit me.
For Hamilton, his first home run of the spring. Booming drive. Far over the right field wall, and it's 7-3 Cleveland.
Who's their DH?
Normally, it'll be Travis Hafner.
Hafner.
The big man who had shoulder
Right.
surgery.
Is he all right now?
He is regaining his strength in his right shoulder, we understand. Ben Francisco takes inside ball 1. Hafner out with a shoulder issue, had surgery to repair that problem, and he is a little slow in spring. He's a huge guy. He looks like a lumberjack.
Oh, I know it. He's big. He's got a frame on him, boy.
2 balls and no strikes on Francisco, but they tell us he, I think, hit his first homer of the spring the other day. His power is still not quite there yet, but he's hoping that by opening day he'll be close. But he's a key guy for this team.
Was it his right or left shoulder?
It's his right shoulder. So his lead shoulder as a left-handed batter.
Oh, yeah.
7-3 Indians in the 7th inning. 3 runs off Chad Godin. Fastball is high, and the count 3-0 on Ben Francisco. For every walk by a Cub today, Walgreens will make a $100 contribution to Ron Santo's Walk for the Cure for JDRF. Outside, he walked him. Godin having a rocky 7th inning.
Boy, he really is. Larry Rothschild going out there, and you can just see him. He's a little upset at himself. And, you know, the one thing about Godin's breaking ball, Pat, he's got a good breaking ball, but he throws it 3/4, and sometimes it doesn't break down. It just breaks over the plate and kind of goes what we call flat slider, where it just sits there and says, hit me. And that pitch right there is one you have to keep down, if anything.
You hear pitchers and pitching coaches talking about the tilt of a slider. I think that's the opposite of what you're talking about, Ron.
Well, it is. It's how you release it. And if you're on top of it, you're going to get the tilt, as you say. The ball's going to break and down. It's not breaking like a curveball. It breaks like a cut fastball, but, you know, a little sharper.
Wilson Valdez, the batter. 2 outs, a man at first. 7-3 Indians. They've scored 3 in the inning off Godin, who fires a strike to Valdez. Ted Lilly, the starter. He lasted 5+ innings, touched for 4 runs. But overall, it was an encouraging outing by Ted.
Yeah.
Just the fact that he was able to pitch
5 innings
that deep.
Yeah.
So he'll get one more start, and I was speculating earlier, perhaps Friday night Lilly will pitch, and then he'll pitch in that first series in Houston. The Cubs rotation in that series, it's going to be Carlos Zambrano Monday night, Ryan Dempster Tuesday night, and then Lilly in the finale on Wednesday night. And then Rich Harden scheduled to start Game 1 up in Milwaukee on the Friday afternoon. Swing and a miss. A curveball got him, and the inning is finally over. But the Indians score 3 runs on the same number of hits. They leave 1. And as the fans start to stand for the traditional 7th inning stretch, the score, the Cleveland Indians 7 and the Chicago Cubs 3.
News Talk 720 double.
Wind's blowing. Number one. And yesterday we were
The Indians have made some changes, most notably on the mound, where the very familiar figure of Kerry Wood is warming up for Cleveland. Kerry Wood, the former Cub, to face the top of the order here in the bottom of the seventh inning. Alfonso Soriano, Ryan Theriot, and then Micah Hoffpower. And Ronnie, I mentioned yesterday, it'll be peculiar to see Kerry Wood wearing a uniform other than the Cubs, and it is peculiar.
Yeah, it really is. And I just wish him the best. As you know, I think he's going to really help this ball club. He sure did a good job for us last year, and you know, he ended up signing a 2-year contract, give him a little more security, which I understand, but I'm going to miss him.
Kerry Wood to face Soriano here. Power against power in this matchup. 7-3 Indians, bottom of the seventh. Wood always works from the stretch. Kerry Wood facing the Cubs' Alfonso Soriano. First pitch outside, ball one. Wood had some minor back stiffness and soreness early in camp, but that's no problem anymore. He's been throwing free and easy lately. There's a curveball in there for a strike. Soriano had ducked out of the way.
He's got a good one. I remember, Pat, when we go back to the time he struck out 20, that pitch was a slurve, and boy, it broke big and down.
Soriano swings and misses at a fastball. 1-2. Wood has not given up a run in 4 innings as a Cleveland Indian this spring. Cubs are down by 4, getting a little bit late, last of the 7th inning. Top of the order for the Cubbies here in the inning against Wood. And the pitch.
Wow.
Curveball is high, way over the head of Soriano. It slipped out of Wood's hand.
You know, the pitch before that seemed to bother him. He walked around. Normally he gets the ball and goes right at you. But he took, after that one pitch he threw fastball.
Soriano hits a high fly ball into shallow left. Coming in is Francisco, and Ben makes the catch run, one away.
You know, I noticed. I'm just wondering if something must have clicked. He's walking around like there's, you know, I just, it was, it's funny the way he, after he threw that pitch, and then he threw that one over his head.
Theriot takes a curve for a strike from Kerry Wood. Wood is slated to be the closer for the Indians this season. And the pitch on the way. Fastball just outside. 1-1. Now the sun hiding behind the clouds here in Mesa. Little breeze still blowing out. Here's the pitch by Wood to Theriot. Fastball inside near the hands. 2-1. 7th inning stretch in games at Wrigley Field this season. They'll be brought to you by Citgo. Cubs are down by 4. Nobody on. The pitch. Lifted foul to right and back out of play. Cubs will keep on playing. This is our final Arizona broadcast, but tomorrow the Cubs will stay here in the area. They'll play, let's see, they're going to play in Kansas City, or at Kansas City's ballpark over in Surprise, Arizona. They will host the Angels here on Tuesday. The pitch. Theriot takes outside, ball 3. Cubs have a game against Oakland Wednesday and then wrap things up in the Cactus League Thursday against these Indians right here in Mesa. Team will then set sail for New York City. Pitch. Look out. Terrio takes ball 4 inside. A 1-out walk from Kerrywood, and the batter is Michael Hoffpower. This will be a good matchup here.
Yeah.
You got a couple of big boys from Texas facing each other. Wood and Hoffpower. Power against power. 7-3 Indians, 1 away, 7th inning. Hoffpower batting for the first time. Micah takes inside, ball 1. He put on a show in Tucson yesterday.
Oh, did he ever?
Long 3-run homer and a double.
He leads everybody in the Cactus League. 23 RBIs, 22.
He hits a fly ball off the hands into right. Williams is battling the sun and makes the catch for out number 2. 22 RBIs.
Yeah,
John.
22 RBIs. 5 home runs.
2 down in the inning. And the batter, Milton Bradley. Bradley has driven in all 3 Cub tallies with a 2-run homer and an infield groundout. Milton batting left-handed against Kerrywood. The Indians have to be pleased with Fausto Carmona and his 6 strong innings today. The pitch. Bradley takes inside for a ball. Wood throwing hard.
Yeah.
Terrio at first, being held on by Graffinino. Wood chases him back, just a token toss. Eight more days until opening day 2009. The Cubs will be down in Houston. Bradley takes high for a ball. And I would think, Ronnie, for a ball player, whether you are a pitcher, a starter, or a reliever, or an everyday player, or a guy who's going to play backup, this is about the time when you want everything to start feeling exactly the way you want it to feel.
Yeah, I truly feel that these guys realize this is an extended spring training. I mean, they're ready to go. They're ready. I think the coaches, the manager, ready to go. And
swinging a foul back by Bradley.
You know, they'll be playing a little longer the regular starting lineups, and you want to, you got a week to go. The way I look at it is, you want to go out feeling good about yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, take the best attitude possible into that regular season. Bradley checks on a breaking ball low. You want everyone to get their work in, but stay healthy here in that last week before they really start to count. Cubs trail 7-3, 2 down, bottom of the 7th. The pitch. Bradley takes strike 3 called, and he knew it. A backdoor slider from Kerrywood. Cubs don't score. We go to the 8th inning here in Mesa. It's the Indians 7 and the Cubs 3. Right-hander David Patton is the new Cubs pitcher as we move to the 8th inning with Ron Santo. Pat Hughes, we thank you for joining us. Cubs trail 7-3. Tony Graffinino to lead things off against the young right-hander David Patton.
Yeah, David Patton, good fastball, breaking ball. Double A, I think Double A, Pat. I don't know if he spent some time in Triple A, but came to spring training, and he's had a very good spring. They've been very impressed with him.
Here's the drive foul. He pitched in Class A ball the last 4 years, actually.
Is that right? He has not even Double A, huh?
He was acquired by the Cubs from the Reds.
Yeah.
For cash considerations back on December 11, he was selected by the Reds from Colorado in the Rule 5 draft earlier that day. Now the 0-2 pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. Sharp curveball got him.
Yeah, he's got a good breaking ball.
That ball was foul tipped into the glove of the catcher Coy Hill. One away. So David Patton, 24-year-old from your hometown of Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, I know. That's, he could pitch in the mud, no doubt about it.
Did you play a lot of games in the mud up in Seattle?
Played a lot of games in the rain. I was a good mudder.
I've heard that about you, Ron. There's a pitch on the way. Hit in the air, curveball to left, playable for Soriano. And that's out number 2. Well, sometimes playing in the mud, you can scrape your nose a little bit. That looks like it might have happened to you also, just in the last day or two.
You don't miss a thing, do you? My nose is, first of all, a little. I had a little sunburn, and then I scraped it.
Doesn't look bad.
No, any time it's just like when I burnt my piece. You said it doesn't look bad.
No.
I knew it was gone.
No, hardly noticeable.
It looked like a divot.
New guy in the game for the Indians now. This is John Drennan. Drennan takes down low for a ball. Some of the fans heading for the exits, but the great majority have hung around. Pleasant day. Temperature in the high 70s. 7-3 Indians in the 8th. 2 down. The pitch by Patton. Outside for a ball. Patton has those trousers hiked up near the knees. A lot of blue socks showing. It's a well-built kid. He's 6'3", 205. David Patton. He delivers again. Drennan hammers it foul, deep to right and out of play.
A lot of pitchers, Pat, I notice putting those socks up to around the knees.
Any theory?
The pants, yeah.
Any theory on that?
No theory whatsoever. I don't, today I don't even know what the rules or the law is as far as how you wear your pants, but you should be wearing them for sure.
Yeah,
I don't think they go without them.
They like you to wear pants in the big leagues. There's a curveball high on the count 3-2.
But it's amazing, the long pants. And so they're
3-2 offering. Swing and a miss. He got him. Another good inning by David Patton. 3 up, 3 down with a pair of strikeouts. We go to the last of the 8th inning. The score, the Indians 7 and the Cubs 3. Ramos Ramirez will lead off the bottom of the 8th inning. Ron Santo has headed home to beat the traffic on this Sunday afternoon. A big crowd here in Mesa. Let's see if the Cubs can stage some late inning dramatics. Milton Bradley has driven in all 3 Cub runs today with a 2-run homer and an infield run-scoring groundout. Ramirez 1 for 3. The first pitch by the new Indian right-hander is high for ball 1. Masa Kobayashi is the new Indian hurler. He works out of a stretch and then lifts the glove up high and then goes into his motion and misses upstairs, ball 2. Former Japanese star Masa Kobayashi. Esteban Herman to pinch run for Ramirez. So Ramirez had a good day with a single and a double. And let's see if that leadoff double leads to a big rally as Johnson stands in. Reed had a very eventful day at the ballpark yesterday down in Tucson. Here's the pitch. He takes a strike. Reed, his first time up yesterday, hit by a pitch from Colorado's Ubaldo Jimenez, a very hard thrower, and it was a fastball that drilled him right in the left wrist area. It came with the bases loaded and forced in a run. But he was laying on the ground for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. There's a ball upstairs. Later in the game, Johnson, playing in right field, made 2 excellent throws to cut down Colorado base runners. Todd Helton hit one off the wall, which Johnson gloved very quickly and fired a strike to second to nail Todd Helton. And the 1-1 to Reed Johnson. Swing and a miss on a sinking fastball, 1-2. And then later in the game, I forget the runner, but it was another dazzling throw by Reed Johnson from over near the right field line all the way on the fly across the diamond to third base to double up a Colorado runner who tried to tag from second. Here's the 1-2 to Reed Johnson. Lifted to right, foul, and drifting out of play. The breeze has died down. There have been 4 home runs in this game, 3 by the Indians, 2 by former Cub Mark DeRosa. Tom Hamilton hit one, and Milton Bradley connected for the Cubs. Johnson fouls it away off the hands and out of play. Cubs with a spring record of 17-14. The Indians at 9-17. Herman, the pinch runner, leads at second. And the 1-2 from Kobayashi. A long set and the delivery. Very high. Ball 2. 2-2. It is Coy Hill on deck. Again, the Cubs start the season on the road 3 games in Houston, 3 in Milwaukee. 6 very important Central Division matchups right out of the gate, all on the road for the Cubs. A challenge. Now the 2-2. On the way. Breaking ball is high, ball 3. And the Cubs come home for a significant homestand. 9 games to start. The Wrigley home opener, Monday the 13th. That's a 2-game series with Colorado, 4 games with St. Louis, and then Cincinnati comes in on the 21st. Go to Cubs.com for all kinds of ticket information, or give the Cubs a call at 1-800-THE-CUBS. Kobayashi to Johnson. The 3-2. Fouled away again. Good at-bat by Reed. His job right now is to get on base. Cubs are down by 4, 8th inning, nobody out. Cubs need base runners. So if you're batting here, you just want to get on. If he wants to walk you, that's fine. Johnson has spoiled off a few pitches. Let's see if his perseverance pays off in him reaching base. Herman with a pretty daring lead out at second. Masa Kobayashi fires. Here's a high fly ball deep left field. This ball's got a chance. Gone. Reed Johnson, a booming 2-run homer to left, and the Cubs are back in the game. It's 7-5. Johnson spoiled off a few good pitches. Kobayashi did not want to walk him, and he came in with a fastball on 3-2. Johnson jumped all over it and hammers it far over the fence in left, and it's a 7-5 Cleveland lead. Very, very impressive at-bat by Reed Johnson. He's not a big man, but every once in a while he'll muscle up and take one deep. Reed had 6 home runs a year ago. I remember when he played with Toronto against the Cubs in an interleague game back in about 2003 on a Friday night in Toronto. Reed Johnson had 2 homers against the Cubs, including a game winner in about the 10th inning. All right, here's Coy Hill batting. Now, Coy's at-bat takes on some meaning, because if he can reach, then the Cubs get the tying run to the plate. Coy, a switch hitter, batting for the first time today. 7-5 Indians. Cleveland out-hitting the Cubs 10-9. That's up high, ball 2, 2-0. Kerry Wood was impressive in his 1-inning stint. Out of the Indian bullpen, he faced 4 men. The only blemish was a walk to Ryan Theriot. And the pitch to Hill, lifted to left, pretty well hit. In the corner, back goes Francisco, near the wall, makes the catch. About 5 feet in front of the wall and about 5 feet off the line in deep left field in the corner area. 1 away. Coy Hill gave that ball a long ride, and the way the ball has carried today, any ball hit decently in the air has a chance to go the distance. 1 down, Cubs trail by 2, last of the 8th, and here's Gathright. Joey with a couple of singles today. The corner infielders move in shallow, daring him to lay down a bunt. Gathright fouls it away. When those guys move in shallow, though, it creates some better angles for them on ground balls. Talking about the hitter, to get base hits, you can more easily poke a ground ball past that shortened up third baseman. Kobayashi to Gathright. Joey showed bunt, took low and inside. Ball 2, 2-1. Now Kobayashi pauses at the top of the set and fires. Outside for a ball. It's 2-1. Mike DeMuro has done a nice job calling balls and strikes today. The other umpires, Jerry Davis, Jim Reynolds, and David Rackley. Now the 2-1 to Gathright. Joey takes ball 3 down low, 3-1. Aaron Miles on deck. For every Cub who draws a walk today, Walgreens will make a $100 contribution to Ron Santo's Walk for the Cure for JDRF. The 3-1. Line to left center, a base hit toward the alley. Over to cut it off Sizemore. Gathright going for 2. Sizemore bobbles. It's a double for Gathright. He probably would have had 2 bases anyway, but the speed of Gathright may have been on Sizemore's mind as he hustled over to pick that ball up. You see a lot of defensive mistakes against guys who can really run because the fielder knows he has to really hurry it up and get the ball quickly back to the infield. And sometimes in their haste, the fielder will bobble the ball. And I think that may have been what happened on this play. It's a double for Gathright. The tying run now at the plate, and it's Aaron Miles. Each team with 10 hits today. Lots of extra base knocks. Unofficially, 5 of the Indians' 10 hits are extra base hits, and 4 of the Cubs' 10. Here is Miles. 1 away, last of the 8th. 7-5 Cleveland. Soriano to follow. Miles 0 for 1. Flied out his only time up today. Takes a strike. Aaron batting left-handed against the right-hander Kobayashi. Mike Quaddy, the coach at third, looking out at the runner Gathright at second, letting Joey know how much of a lead he can get comfortably. As a bouncing ball to short. It is gloved by Peralta. He throws out Miles, 2 down. On the play, Gathright goes to third. And here is Soriano representing the tying run, and you can hear the crowd buzzing. You know what they're thinking, that Soriano could tie the game with 1 swing. Two down, last of the 8th. Soriano today, nothing for 4. Soriano the tying run as he takes a fastball low, ball 1. The ball blocked by the catcher Martinez, who has caught the entire game. Andres Blanco on deck. He'll bat for Terrio. Now the stretch, Kobayashi fires to the plate. Soriano fouls it away, and the count is now even, 1-1. In the inning, Aramis Ramirez doubled. Reed Johnson drilled a long home run to left. Hill fly to the warning track. Gathright doubled. Miles has grounded out. Soriano takes high, and the count 2-0, or make it 2-1. $13,097 here today. Only about 1,000 have left. Kobayashi set and fires. Soriano pops it up on the infield, the right side. The second baseman Valdez gloves it to end the inning. The Cubs get 2 and leave a man 90 feet away. We go to the 9th. The score, Cleveland 7 and the Cubs 5. Left-hander Neil Kotz, the new Cubs hurler. Top of inning number 9, 7-5 Cleveland. Reed Johnson, after poking that home run in the bottom of the 8th, stays in the game to play left field. Kotz fires. Mark DeRosa takes low. Esteban Herman remains in the game to play third base. Kotz fires again. DeRosa takes a strike, 1-1. DeRosa hit 2 long home runs and a booming double, all of those against Ted Lilly. And then he hit a sac fly in the 7th. He swings and misses at a high fastball. And the count is 0-2. The stretch by Kotz, the hard-throwing lefty delivers, and DeRosa pops it up, foul, right side over near the Cub dugout, and reaching in and almost making a great catch was Coy Hill. Coy went all the way to the front railing of the first base dugout, reached over into the Cubs dugout with a long reach, and you could see the mitt barely got a piece of that ball, but he just couldn't hold on to it. Good effort, though. Now the 1-2. DeRosa swings and misses, strike 3. Kotz struck him out on a good, sharp breaking ball in the dirt. 1 away, and here's Victor Martinez. For hockey fans, stay tuned. The Blackhawks game coming up shortly against Vancouver. And that game will start very, very shortly, so stay tuned for that. Here's Neil Kotz firing to Martinez. He lines one to right. That's a base hit. Falling in front of the new Cub right fielder. That's So Taguchi. A 1-out single here in the 9th inning for the Indians. Victor Martinez collecting his 3rd hit of the day. 11 hits for Cleveland. The Tribe with a 7-5 lead with 1 away. Kotz from the stretch to face Johnny Peralta. The right-handed batter looks at a strike, 0-1. Kotz having a decent spring. It's his 10th game. Here's the pitch on the way. Sharp breaking ball. Check swing by the right-handed batter. No swing. Kotz in 9 games, 7 innings. His ERA 3.5. He does have a win and no losses in Cactus League competition. Swing and a miss. Good fastball. Neil has a good arm. If he gets that ball up around the letters, it can be very tough for a batter to catch up to. See a lot of swings and misses at pitches that are actually up high out of the strike zone against Kotz. Grounded weakly off the hands to the right side. It'll be gloved by Miles, and he throws the ball away. Threw it over the head of Hoffpauer as he was stumbling at second base. Safe at first as Peralta. Going to third on the play is Victor Martinez. It's an infield single and a throwing error charged against Aaron Miles. Infield single. Miles aggressively charging that ball, had actually more time, I think, than he realized. He was stumbling forward as he charged the grounder and made a very awkward-looking sidearm off-balance flip. He was almost flat on the ground when he threw that ball. And it sailed over the head of first baseman Micah Hoffpauer. Infield back, first and third, 1 away. Here's a bouncing ball to Miles. He'll go to Terrio, 1 over to first. That's a double play to end the inning. Tom Hamilton wraps into a 4-6-3 double play, and the top of the 9th is over. No runs for the Indians. We go to the bottom half. Cleveland 7, Cubs 5. Left-hander Rafael Perez, long-legged, lanky left-hander, on to pitch the bottom of the ninth inning for the Indians. Pat Hughes at Hohokam Park in Mesa. Ron Santo has left for the day. The Cubs are down by 2 as we move to the bottom of the ninth inning. Our next broadcast after today, a reminder, we'll have the game in New York City at New Yankee Stadium next Saturday, April 4th, and that is a noon Central Time start. So straight up at noon next Saturday from New Yankee Stadium. That'll be the Cubs' final exhibition game broadcast and also their final exhibition game. A week from today, the Cubs are scheduling a workout at Minute Maid Park in Houston, preparatory to their opening night assignment against the Astros. All right, bottom of the ninth. Let's see. Can the Cubs rally on this Sunday? Andres Blanco to lead it off. Perez fires inside, ball one. Michael Hoffpower on deck. Rafael Perez, sporting a bright reddish glove as he fires down low, and the count now 2 balls and 1 strike. Blanco, a switch hitter, batting right-handed. Cubs will make some roster moves here in the next few days. The plan is before Thursday, that's the day the Cubs leave Arizona, Blanco swings and misses, 2-2. The plan is, I believe, that the Cubs are going to get very close to the 25-man limit by Thursday afternoon when they break camp and leave Arizona and head to New York for those final 2 exhibition games. There's a broken bat chopper foul right side. Cubs have to make 12 roster moves between now and opening day. I guess the season actually starts a week from tonight. Not the Cubs season, but the Major League season. And I want to say that I read that the Phillies, the defending world champions, are involved. I do not know who they're playing, but I think that's a week from tonight on the Sunday night game of the week on ESPN. So all big league teams have to have their rosters cut down to 25 by the time that game starts, as I understand. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Blanco. The pitch. Backdoor breaking ball outside, and it's 2-2. Well, Ted Lilly started today, worked 5 innings. He was touched for a couple of home runs. Charged with 4 runs overall. Here's a fly ball to right. This is playable for the right fielder Hamilton, 1 away. Blanco retired on the fly ball, and here is Michael Hoffpower. Hoffpower to face the left-hander Perez with 1 away in the bottom of the ninth. Milton Bradley drove in 3 before he left. Reed Johnson with a 2-run homer. Those are the 5 Cub runs. Cleveland with 2 home runs from Mark DeRosa. Tom Hamilton hit 1. DeRosa drove in 4 runs today for the Indians. They lead 7-5, 1 away, bottom of the ninth. The 1-0. Hoffpower takes inside for a ball. So Taguchi on deck. The left-hander always works out of the stretch. Rafael Perez kicks and fires. Hoffpower taking all the way, looks at a strike. That's good baseball by Hoffpower. The Cubs are down by 2. This is a spot where you probably should be taking a strike because your run really doesn't mean all that much. You need to get on base. There's a curve for a strike, and it's 2-2. Too many guys these days take that big swing in games when they trail by 2 or 3 runs in the ninth inning. It just doesn't look right. Your idea, your objective in a spot like that, get on base. Make the pitcher work. He might walk you on 4 straight. 3-2 on Michael Hoffpauer. 7-5 Indians, bottom of the 9th. The payoff. Check swing, it gets away from the catcher. Martinez has a play at first, though, throws low, it hits Hoffpauer. Safe at first is Hoffpauer. The throw by the catcher Martinez from behind home plate, back near the backstop, drilled Hoffpauer in the back. He's okay. He swung and missed at strike 3. It would have been ball 4. The ball bounced away from Martinez. And Hoffpauer reaches with 1 away. Give Perez a strikeout, but also charge him with a wild pitch. And here is So Taguchi. Esteban Herman on deck. Taguchi takes down low. Technically now we are told that Martinez, the catcher, charged with a throwing error, and that's probably a good call. He did have a play. A good throw would have nailed Hoffpauer at first, but the throw hit Hoffpauer in the back. Kind of a tough error. Here's a chopper foul. I say a tough error because I'm not sure really where Martinez could have thrown that ball, other than where he actually did throw it. One ball and 1 strike. Taguchi pokes it foul toward right, and it's 1-2. Seven runs on 12 hits and 2 errors for the Indians. 5, 10, and 1 for the Cubs. Now the lefty Perez is set. Checks out the lead of Hoffpauer at first. And Taguchi strikes out swinging 2 down. Sharp curve got him. 2 gone. Cubs are down to their last out. Esteban Herman, who pinch ran for Ramirez back in the 7th, will bat for the first time today. Herman is the tying run. Reed Johnson on deck, hoping to get a chance. Hoffpauer not being held on by Graffinino. And the first pitch, a strike to Herman, and down to second goes Hoffpauer. No stolen base. Guarding the line at third, DeRosa, cutting down on the likelihood of an extra base knock. Perez fires. Herman takes low, and it's 1-1. A magnificent crowd of over 13,000 here in Mesa today. Pleasant day, temperature in the high 70s. And the 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2. Herman now will try to keep the Cubs going on this Sunday. 7-5 Indians, bottom of the 9th. 2 down. And the 1-2 pitch on the way. Very high, ball 2. The next time these two teams see each other, it'll be Thursday afternoon here in Mesa. And they'll see each other in legitimate competition in the summertime at Wrigley Field in June, an interleague series between the Indians and Cubs. Here's the 2-2. Outside, 3-2. If Herman can reach, he will be the tying run. And then Johnson on deck would represent the game winner. Now the 3-2. Swing and a foul at the plate. He stayed alive. Herman just did get a piece of that ball. Cubs have already hit a couple of homers today. Milton Bradley belted one in the third with a man on. Reed Johnson connected in the eighth with a runner aboard. A homer now would tie the game. Cubs down to their last strike. Left-handed pitcher, right-handed batter. The 3-2. Fly ball to right, down the line, slicing in the corner area and going foul. Well hit ball, but pushed foul by Esteban Herman. Center fielder Sizemore way over toward the right center field gap against Esteban Herman, exposing a huge gap in left center. Rafael Perez on the mound. He's a deliberate worker. And the 3-2 on the way. Ground ball to short. Peralta up with it, throws to first. This game is over. The Cleveland Indians have beaten the Chicago Cubs 7-5. Back with the totals after this on the WGN Cubs Radio Network.
From the WGN newsroom, 6 are dead after.
Break and you do your little wrap-up kind of deal, just then say WGN now, stay tuned for Fox Network, stay tuned for your postgame.
Very good. Very good. Thanks, Walt. And they want me to get out quickly. Tell them I'll do that. The game totals today for the Indians: 7 runs, 12 hits, and 2 errors. For the Cubs, 5 runs, 10 hits, and 1 error. Cleveland beat the Cubs by a score of 7-5 in front of 13,097. Our next broadcast next Saturday from Yankee Stadium, a noon start Central Time. The Cubs against the New York Yanks. Thanks to Walt Ellis, our producer-engineer, for a job well done. For Ron Santo, Pat Hughes saying thank you for listening and goodbye from Hohokam Park in Mesa, Arizona. Once again, the final score, the Cleveland Indians 7 and the Chicago Cubs 5. For WGN listeners, please stay tuned for Blackhawks hockey against Vancouver. For network stations, please stay tuned for our Cubs postgame show. Again, the final, Indians 7, Cubs 5. This has been a presentation of the WGN Cubs Radio Network.
best in electrical protection, the best quality, the best safety. Schneider Electric is the global specialist in energy management. Schneider Electric offers integrated solutions to make energy safer, to make it more reliable, more efficient, more productive, and to make it more green. Schneider Electric is developing technologies, processes, and solutions, including Square D products, so simple and efficient you'd forget they're even there. Making the world a better place to be night and day. For the best in electrical protection, insist on Square D products by Schneider Electric, part of the power at Wrigley Field, night and day. The best in electrical protection, the best quality, and the best safety. Schneider Electric and Square D. For more information, go to us.schneider-electric.com. Should a man over 50 take the same multivitamin as a woman? Why would you, when you can take One-A-Day Men's 50-Plus Advantage, a complete multivitamin specially formulated for the concerns of a man over 50. The only leading multivitamin with both support for prostate and heart health, plus ginkgo for memory and concentration. One-A-Day Men's 50-Plus Advantage, the complete multivitamin with more of what matters to you. One-A-Day, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball. Visit your local Walgreens to find a wide selection of One-A-Day products, including One-A-Day Men's 50-Plus Advantage.
Welcome to Cubs postgame. Jim Memolo with you this afternoon. Cubs wrapping up the final weekend in Mesa. They got a couple more days down in Arizona. Lou Pinella's got some roster decisions to sort out. Cut the roster down to 30 today, but still a couple of extra bodies sticking around, and including a decision on the backup catcher. Ted Lilly finally makes an appearance for the Cubs, coming back from the World Baseball Classic U.S. team. But the Cubs lose to the Indians today by a score of 7-5. Some highlights from this game and some of the numbers from the game, including Ted Lilly's performance for the day. But as we always do on Cubs postgame, we started out by looking at the scoreboard. First in the Cactus League. Ninth inning, White Sox trying to hang on to beat Arizona by a score of 9-6. Dwayne Wise has hit his second home run of the spring for the Sox in that one. Elsewhere, Oakland has defeated Colorado 7-6. The A's scored 2 in the bottom of the ninth to win that game. Ian Stewart hit his fourth spring homer for Colorado in a losing cause. Somebody's going to get cut on these pitching staffs. Kansas City pounding Seattle 17-12 in the eighth inning. Not an impressive day for the pitchers in Peoria, Arizona. In that one, Kansas City leading Seattle 17-12. Milwaukee beat San Francisco 1-0 on Ricky Weeks' third spring training homer. That was the only run of the game. Milwaukee wins it 1-0. Sixth inning, San Diego leads the Dodgers 7-2. Matt Kemp hit his fourth of the spring in that game, and Texas has beaten the Angels 13-4. There's a riot at the bat rack in that game for Texas. A lot of long ball, including Josh Hamilton hitting 2 on the day for the Rangers. He's got 5 for the spring. Texas beats the Angels 13-4. In the Grapefruit League, Detroit beat Atlanta 5-4. Boston over Philadelphia 3-1. John Lester had 5 solid innings in his start for the Red Sox there. Baltimore beat the Mets 5-1. Minnesota over St. Louis 5-3. Tampa Bay takes Cincinnati 11-2. Astros beat Toronto 3-2. Florida a 5-2 winner over Washington. And the Yankees beat Pittsburgh 9-8. Neither starting pitcher in that game having a great day, including A.J. Burnett, the big free agent signing for the Yankees, goes 4 1/3, gives up 7 runs to that vaunted Pittsburgh Pirates lineup. That's a quick look at Major League Baseball spring training. Basketball, Toronto beat the Chicago Bulls 134-129 in overtime in the NBA today. Also, you got North Carolina leading Oklahoma 70-56 with just about a minute to go. Looks like North Carolina is on their way to the Final Four in the NCAAs, and Michigan State pulls off the minor upset, taking Louisville. Michigan State will complete the Final Four picture. That's a look at the scoreboard. We got Cubs highlights for you coming up next on the WGN Chicago Cubs Radio Network.
The wellness initiative is really hitting big, not just for Blue Cross, but for each individual company. My name is Gillian Kelly. I'm a health educator for Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. My responsibility is to provide wellness education to our clients and their employees. We want them to be healthy individually, which in turn goes up the ladder and makes their company healthier, which increases morale. There are certain groups where, I go back maybe year after year, and then to hear, oh yeah, your nutrition class really motivated me, I've lost 30 pounds. To have those testimonials is very rewarding. I have the opportunity to really make a difference for somebody.
Wellness is having the right people on your side. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Experience wellness everywhere. A division of Healthcare Service Corporation, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
So you call yourself a fan?
Yep.
You got an authentic team cap?
Yep.
How about a genuine team tie clip?
Oh, yeah.
An official team collar for your dog?
Yeah.
You got AT&T?
No.
And you call yourself a fan?
Well, what's so special about AT&T?
AT&T is the network with the best coverage worldwide. So the only thing that stops you from bragging on your favorite team on the phone is when your rival on the other end hangs up. How could you not know this?
I guess I was so busy listening to the game that
And fielding all those missed calls, no doubt.
Ooh, does AT&T have phones that look like those bobbleheaded players?
Don't go overboard. You're still a grown man.
Come in now and get the LG View with interactive touchscreen for $49.99 after mail-in rebate and get one free after mail-in rebate. AT&T. Your world delivered.
The most phones that work in the most countries pay $99.99 and $49.99 respectively, and after mail-in rebate receive $100 in AT&T promotion cards. 2-year wireless service agreement with minimum $15 monthly data plan per phone required. Certain geographic other monthly charges and restrictions apply. See store for details.
Welcome back to Cubs postgame. Jim Memolo with you this afternoon. Cubs on the wrong end of the score today. We'll get to the numbers for you. It was the Cubs and Indians from Hohokam and Mesa. Final Sunday in Mesa for the Cubs. Couple of more games this week, and then it's off to New York Thursday for a pair of exhibitions against the Yankees at the new Yankee Stadium. We'll talk about our next broadcast coming up in a little while. Ted Lilly versus Fausto Carmona, the pitching matchup today. Lilly getting back from the World Baseball Classic, only 8 1/3 innings this spring, needed some work. Fausto Carmona's been sharp this spring, 5 outings, a 1.69 ERA. And Ted looking a little rusty early on. First inning, Grady Sizemore gets on with a single. Former Cub Mark DeRosa greets Lilly to the Cactus League.
Here's a high fly ball, deep left field, and this ball is going to leave the yard. Long home run from Mark DeRosa, and the Indians lead 2-0.
How about that?
Lilly settled down after that and was really sailing along until DeRosa came up to the plate again in the third.
Now Lilly coming back 2-1 to DeRosa. A swing and a drive. I think he has hit another one. He has. This ball is long gone off the scoreboard in left. DeRosa with his second tape measure home run of the day.
Can you believe this?
And it is 3-0.
Yeah, if you had any second thoughts about the Cubs trading Mark DeRosa, he didn't make you feel any better today. 2 home runs in the first 3 innings. Indians jump out to a 3-0 lead all in the back at DeRosa. Meantime, Carmona proved to be as tough as his numbers indicated early on. The Cubs blew an opportunity in the second inning, left the bases loaded, but Milton Bradley makes it a 1-run game with 1 swing in the bottom of the third.
Bradley drives one in the air. Deep right field. This has got a chance.
Yes.
Gone.
He knew it when he hit it.
Milton Bradley, a line drive over the bullpen in right. A screaming line drive home run, and the Cubs are on the board. It's 3-2.
2-run shot for Bradley. When he is healthy and in the lineup, he can hit. Mark DeRosa struck again against Lilly in the 5th inning. No, it wasn't a home run, but he came within a couple of feet, hit the top of the wall, wound up with a double, scored on an RBI single by Victor Martinez, made it 4-2 Indians. Ted Lilly left in the 6th inning after walking back-to-back hitters, hit the wall a little bit, ran out of gas a little bit. The big news, though, came in the 5th inning. Derek Lee left the game with a bit of a problem we're still not sure about. Hopefully he's okay. Milton Bradley made it 4-3 later on with a ground out, scoring Ryan Terrio in the 5th to make it 4-3. Indians, though, score 3 in the 7th to make it 7-3. DeRosa again drives in another run with a sac fly. He had 4 RBIs in the day against the Cubs. And a 2-run homer for the Tribe later on in the inning, rung up 3 in that frame, and it was 7-3 Indians. Reed Johnson, though, bottom of the 8th inning, makes it an interesting game with a man on.
Masa Kobayashi fires. Here's a high fly ball deep left field. This ball's got a chance. Gone. Reed Johnson, a booming 2-run homer to left, and the Cubs are back in the game. It's 7-5.
So the Johnson boomer makes it a 2-run game, which made it interesting in the bottom of the ninth. Micah Hoffpower actually reached base on a drop third strike. So the tying run was at the plate 3 times in the ninth, but a double play ball ended it, and the Cubs lose by a score of 7-5. The Indians, 7 runs, 12 hits, 2 errors in this game. The Cubs 5-10-1 on the day. Lilly does make it into the 6th inning, which I think is the important stat as far as Lou Piniella is concerned. So he gets some work in, and a little shaky early on, just a couple of long balls to Mark DeRosa, his buddy from their Cub days. But other than that, gets into the 6th inning. Not a bad day's work for Ted Lilly in this one. Cubs dropped to 17-15 in the Cactus League this year. Have another game coming up tomorrow. Got a couple of more games in Arizona. But our next Cubs broadcast is coming up next Saturday, and this is the last of Cubs spring training for 2009. They face the Yankees at New Yankee Stadium next Saturday, the second of 2 exhibitions they will play against the Yankees this coming week. First on Friday, and then Saturday. We'll bring you that game. Cubs pregame early on next Saturday at 11:30. Pat and Ron with the game. Kind of an historic game between the Cubs and the Yankees at the New Yankee Stadium at 12:05 Central Time. Hope you'll join us for that one, because after that, it's the real deal. Cubs will open up against the Astros on Monday, and of course we'll have that for you, but our next broadcast is Saturday against the Yankees, 11:30 pregame. Again, the final score today, Indians beat the Cubs by a score of 7-5. This has been a presentation of the WGN Chicago Cubs Radio Network.